It's time to add some spice to your nooner. Nooner funny. This is the place where big-time guests, bold opinions, and little cute doggies come together. This is Rothman and Ice.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus, the #1 rated windows and doors in Columbus.
Yes, indeed. We've added some spice. His name is Cole. We're CB Part 2. We're going CB squared today. Cole Bartimus to my right.
You pronounced it right.
And I don't like doing that because
the Iceman cooling off.
He is. And so
I'm Jim Rome.
I think your name sounds better, Cole Bartimus. I think it just flows better, but I'm going to obviously call you by your appropriate last name, Bartimus.
Look, man, you can call me whatever you want. If I know you're talking to me, I'll respond.
Oh, that's nice.
I mean, look, I feel bad for other people. I stopped correcting people on my last name a long, long time ago.
Well, I've got a
substitute teachers. Yeah, just whatever. I know who you're talking to. I'm here.
Well, I got the Anthony Tony stuff in school, and my response was always the same.
Well, at least people didn't pronounce your first name as the human organ, colon.
Who did that?
You got that?
I still get it today.
Yeah.
It's not like Colin is some obscure name.
Here's the thing.
From some foreign land that we've never heard of before.
You shouldn't have told us that. Because I never thought of that, and now that's all I'll ever think of. And now,
it'll be funny, at least.
That's what it's going to be. That's amazing. All right.
Colon.
That's
a new radio show that we have here.
Oh, my goodness. Well, it's good to have you, my man. Thanks
you.
for coming aboard and riding shotgun for the next 3 hours.
Yeah, man, you were really scraping the bottom of the barrel now.
No.
I thought they were, kind of sticking you a little bit when you had Adam King on Tuesday, giving you TV people. No, I got to ask.
Rothman and Friends?
Exactly. Yeah. So Bishop and Friends leading into Rothman and Friends. When Adam King came in here.
That's right.
Because, TV people doing radio. Did he go,
they're not good.
Hey, what time's the show end? 3 o'clock. Yeah. Oh, is it cool if I duck out for a segment and film something for TV and come right back? I only missed 10 minutes, but I'll be right back.
Is that okay? Right. He didn't do that this time around because we only had a 2-hour show.
Gotcha. That's right, Jake Dealer's show.
Yeah. So he was very disappointed in that. And then you're exactly right. And I've pulled the curtain up on this before because I came from the world that he lives in. And yes, this job is much more fun, difficult, challenging, creative than anything that I ever thought about doing in television. And I've admitted that on the air, and hopefully I've fallen into it. It only took over a decade to do it, but here we are. You're exactly right. They treat this as some sort of romper room playtime, which I think they like. I think they think it's cool.
Yeah.
But they also think
we're on the radio, cool. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, but TV is for the professionals.
That's right.
That's where you wear suits. I at least like that Adam dressed like a radio person and wore a hoodie when he filled in on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And so you get a second shot at it tomorrow. We'll see if he's dressed to the nines.
The good news is that most TV people aren't very self-promoting. So they come in very humble, willing to just play the sidekick role and all that. Usually that happens.
Exactly. Yeah. No egos in TV.
Yeah,
none of that. No pretty boys obsessed with their hair.
That's right. Oh, wait, we're on YouTube? Pull up the chat. Yeah. I can't wait to hear what people are saying about me. All right, so we got Cam Mellor coming on today at 12:30, Executive Director, College Football Network. I can't wait to ask him about whether Ohio State should be favored again this year going into this season, because they are, and a lot of people think like they're a wait and see again. We will have Dan Dakich on at 1:30, Indy Sports Ticket, talking about the game tonight. Ohio State plays at Penn State. They're not playing at Bryce Jordan. They're playing in the old rec hall. So maybe they're trying to orchestrate a little bit of a home court advantage there. As CB has told me that sometimes they even curtain off Bryce Jordan, correct?
Yes, they do. The upper deck, at least.
They don't curtain off the shot, do they?
I don't believe so. There might have been a time or two recently they did, but not that I can remember. They did for the NIT run. That's what they did.
It would be nice if you got to a game at Ohio State and you had bought a ticket in the upper bowl and there were seats available in the lower, that at some point of the game they would say, free for all, move on down.
I'm starting to buy into that thing, by the way, that the shot has way too many seats. Because I was out in St. Louis doing radio for the past couple of years.
Or not enough fans.
Well, perhaps. But look, man, when you're in the middle of the Big Ten and you're 10th in the conference with a losing record in conference, can you blame the fans that much for not being that excited?
they're still basking in the glow of football, and so basketball usually waits until mid-February, the March to March. We'll talk about that with Double D at 1:30. Sam Bruchhaus, Sumer Sports, NFL, and Draft Talk. CB, he is at the Senior Bowl or not?
Sam is, yes.
Sammy. He's not going to sing for us, is he? We will have him on at 2:30. I did notice that after... Do you have Chiefs fatigue?
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Not just because of Taylor
Chiefs
Swift?
fatigue. Dude, I'm tired of all of them. I'm tired of Donna Kelsey. Like, it goes way beyond just Chiefs fatigue at this point. It's because it's the NFL, man. There are stars everywhere. It's a salary cap league. So everybody, all the talent's dispersed, and it's the same 5 people who won't get off my damn television. So, yeah, I got Chiefs fatigue.
Okay.
And I don't think that counts as hating greatness or whatever Nate Burleson wants to say. Like, whatever. I'm tired of seeing them.
I'm not at that point where I'm tired of seeing them, but the act is running a little thin. I said it after Mahomes pulled his shenanigans against Houston, where he's dancing around trying to bait unsportsmanlike flags. I thought that was beneath him. A lot of people would think that, hey, that's just a loophole in it.
But it works. So do you blame him?
It worked that night or worked that day, and then it didn't work when he was trying to run out of bounds and then stopped right before trying to draw a late hit. That didn't work. I think he admitted that was a problem. I'm not anti-Mahomes. He's fantastic. But there is something after the game. So after they beat the Bills, they had this little family get-together between Taylor Swift, Travis Kelsey, and your girl, Donna Kelsey.
Oh, yeah.
And this is what it sounded like.
Hey, you better pack your bags, baby. Let's go, dog.
That's awesome. I love the way you blocked for Patrick in the end zone. That was amazing.
I'm trying to win a third one. I'm throwing anything I possibly can. I'll run through a wall.
Oh, that's awesome. This is so intense. Look at this. Look at this. This is not a real life situation.
It wasn't like this in Baltimore last year.
No, it was not. No. We were all by ourselves. This is so crazy. I cannot believe this is really happening. I'm in shock.
New Orleans, Louisiana, baby.
This is so cool.
New Orleans, Louisiana.
All right, hard to pick up all that.
Excellent
but
audio quality.
I'll give you the details of that. So it was Taylor Swift saying, look at this. This is insane. This isn't real. Like, I mean, I don't know whether she's just playing it up
She's
for
new
her
to
guy.
football.
And then Donna Kelsey with I love the way you blocked for Patrick going into the end zone. Yeah, because he only caught two balls for 19 yards. They're not engaged yet. I'm not going to flip-flop. I don't have hatred for them. I think this whole thing is entertaining. She's not asked to be shown. They're showing her. She's as famous as anybody, and so they're showing her, just like they would show any other celebrities at any game.
Yeah, I've defended her on that. She's not putting herself on camera, and she's not really doing anything in particular to warrant all that attention besides just being there. And I think that's a supportive girlfriend, so I can't really knock her for that. And she actually does have talent elsewhere, unlike Donna Kelsey, who has probably one of the worst personalities of any celebrity ever because she doesn't do anything.
Boy, this mom hate is unreal.
She's in all these commercials.
72-year-old Cleveland woman that you're like saying, get off my television.
No, hey, look, I don't blame anybody for taking opportunities that other people give to them. So it's not her fault, but it's just the same people on my TV all the time.
Yeah.
How can you not be fatigued over this? Like Taylor Swift, at least, big-time celebrity, whatever. She's not doing much, but I at least understand that Jason Kelsey's everywhere. Donna Kelsey's in every commercial. Like, how could you not be fatigued by it?
I get your point on that. What was she in the one commercial for them with the soup or something? She had to be in a chunk.
I think she was in the Campbell soup commercial. And then also, you mentioned Jason Kelsey. His wife, Kylie, now has a podcast.
Very successful, very early. Every TikTok that Kylie Kelsey posts has like 10 million views. So she's batting 1,000.
I'm surprised you guys haven't mentioned State Farm yet. Like, that's the one that I think I can't even look at. I can't see Andy Reid anymore.
Bundle-rooski.
I'm glad he did the Bundle-rooski, because the one that was creeping me out was when he was sitting with Mahomes eating. He's like, how about some of those nugs? Can I have some? And then the fingers crawling across the table. Yeah. That kind of creeped me out a little bit. But we ran into fake Andy Reid at Radio Row last year. and I duped my family because I had him do a birthday wish for my uncle in Kansas City, and half the family thought it was him. It was great. I eventually had to say,
who was it? Mike Holmgren?
No, yes. No, it wasn't Mike Holmgren playing the fake Andy Reid. But fake Andy Reid was there, and people thought it was him. He looks exactly like it. I hope he's back again.
Andy Reid's played him. I do root for that guy because how successful he was in Philadelphia. I think it's pretty cool that he's been able to pile on top of that some actual Super Bowl victories because in Philadelphia, they were making it far. Was it 4 or 5 NFC Conference Championship appearances that he had in Philadelphia? It was at least 4 because he had 4 in a row. But I actually do appreciate him and his success and what he's been able to do, even though he is a key problem in why I don't have new faces. We gotta write some characters out of the script. I mean, we need something. We need an ensemble cast.
Here's
Same
the
5
problem,
people
though.
everywhere.
Rooting for Philly doesn't feel any more warmth to me. It doesn't have any other feel. It's going to be a very good Super Bowl. It should be. But I wanted the underdog Super Bowl. I always do. I wanted Bills-Lions.
I think Saquon's likable, though. Like, yeah, Nick Sirianni's not. Jalen Hurts, he was good, and now he's not. And so people think that he doesn't deserve.
He's good again.
He doesn't deserve all of the success that he has because everyone thinks that they're winning in spite of him. I think Saquon's really likable, though. And
the whole
Lord knows we're
revenge,
gonna have a lot of Giants
the whole
talk.
revenge thing is a little bit overblown in my mind, Cole, because I feel like it's not that the Giants didn't think he was talented. I think there's this narrative that the Giants felt like he wasn't good. It's the Giants weren't in position to build around him. Like he was added to the best offensive line in the league. He was added to a great team, and he's a great talent. Timing is everything. Like, so these people that are trying to sell us that the Giants messed up and didn't know what they had, I think that narrative is out the window to me. But we'll continue with that. I know you've got something on Cam Newton. He's got a pretty hard take here on what Dallas is doing. We'll get to that. And up next, another Ohio State assistant is reportedly in the mix to jump ship. We'll give you those details next. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
Unlike your deadbeat uncle, we'll never leave you stranded in a ditch when you were 6. This promo may have been a touch too specific. The Fan.
Hey, can we talk? It's a new year and I need to move on. We had a great run, but you're old now. So I'm trading you in at Great Lakes Kia.
And new Kias are under $5 a day.
That's less than lunch.
Lease new Kia K4, K5, and Sorrentos. All 3 under $5 a day. At Great Lakes Kia.
That's only $149 a month for 24 months.
Yes, new 25 Kia K5 LXS, K4 LXS, and Sorrento LX. Standard with 3rd row seating. All 3 under $5 a day.
That Kia Sorrento is hot.
And we've got 0% financing.
But what if I'm not good enough for credit?
If you've got a job, you ride.
Under $5 a day.
Great cars, great people, Great Lakes Kia. GreatLakesKia.com. Want to take it for a test drive?
Oh, he needs to meet my parents first. To qualified buyers, visit GreatLakesKia.com for details.
Never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply.
Get ready for the big game and stock up on home team favorites like buy 5, save $5 deals at Meijer. Mix or match hundreds of items like assorted varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizza, 24 packs of Coca-Cola or Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable. And Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue or marinade sauce. Buy 5, save 5 this week at Meijer. That's the good life. A good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in-store or in the Meijer app.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Well, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
I'm Leslie from Pella, Columbus.
And I'm Wilson from that other window place.
One thing we keep hearing here in town, Wilson, is that the cost of Pella windows actually pleasantly surprises most people.
Pleasantly surprised?
You get the Pella next level quality and looks, but we also have 5 different lines to fit most budgets.
Our customers are almost always surprised, but it's never pleasant. Is there such thing as like angrily surprised?
Price is a little high.
Oh no, they're a lot high.
Get the window that Columbus homeowners rate the leading and most trusted at PellaColumbus.com.
The Fan app is about to become your new best friend. Your one-stop shop for all your favorite fan shows. ESPN Columbus and BetQL. Live or on demand. Listen on your schedule. Download the 97.1 The Fan app today. It's free. Do it.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Looking at a dry day today during the daylight hours, but rain is on the way as we head into the evening. Today we're looking at a high of 48. Rain starts after sunset tonight. Tonight's low will be around 40. Showers on your Friday with a high of 58. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365, the official online sports book of Rothman and Ice. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
It's Rothman and Ice.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus, the #1 rated windows and doors in Columbus.
All right, when you've won a national title, you expect guys to springboard into something that may be more money, different, something they've wanted to do. Who knows? Other jobs. This is what happens when you're successful. And you've timed it up right. And you feel like the job is done. You came there to do a job. We've seen that with Jim Knowles. And we may see it with Chip Kelly. And certainly there are other guys that may want to now grab a little piece of something else. There is another Ohio State assistant who's reportedly in the mix for an NFL job, and that is offensive line coach Justin Frye. And this is coming from Brad Biggs. Who's he with? Oh, yes, Colin. Who is Brad Biggs with?
I will look it up real quick, but I'm not sure. I think it was in the article.
Okay, well, he has shared that Justin Frye.
Looks like the Chicago Tribune,
okay.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. The Trib, as we called it back then. Brad Biggs shares that offensive line coach Justin Frye is interviewing with Ben Johnson and Da Bears for the offensive line job today. He's also the associate head coach for the offense here at Ohio State. He was one of those guys. This is like the poor man's version of Ryan Day, in a way.
This is the broke man's version of Ryan Day.
It was like, get rid of him to
that's
now.
What you mean. Never mind.
Yeah, it was like, get rid of him to now. Look how he coached up that offensive line and the injuries. That was supposed to be the one unit that held them back, even at the start of the year. Then you add the injuries, and all of a sudden it was, this guy has an unwinnable job at this point. And so this is pretty amazing. The weird part about it is this one I don't think will sting Ohio State fans because I feel like they've always been on him for recruiting or lack thereof. But you cannot deny what this offensive line meant to and did for this team this year. It's amazing. Now, a lot of that is the players, but you have to believe that he had a lot to do with this. So if Justin Frye leaves, I would say congratulations, good for him. This is what can happen when you join a team like this. But he had an integral part in what this team's success was, forgetting about the recruiting and the big picture and all that. But I think you'd have to say that this one wouldn't sting as much just because Ohio State fans have to be fairly thankful of what they accomplished this year, knowing that in the big picture, it may not be that big of a loss.
Yeah, leading into this season, there was a lot of talk about Justin Frye's never recruited a 5-star offensive lineman. It's like, okay, he got a bunch of 4-stars. Like, is that really a crime? So it's not the biggest deal in the world to me that he had never recruited a 5-star. But I actually felt that the offensive line was really, really impressive and probably warrants a lot of respect for Justin Frye because they were missing pieces. They missed Justin, what the hell is Simmons' first name? Left tackle. Josh Simmons.
Josh. Yes.
Justin Simmons was a safety for the Broncos. But missing Josh Simmons in that Oregon game, and then Zimihalski comes in, and then, I don't think anybody thinks tremendously highly of the way that he performed when he came in at left tackle. So then you get to your third option, having Donovan Jackson move over, and then you get to the playoffs, and you still have a rotating cast at guard.
Well, Luke was great, too.
Absolutely. Yeah. But Cervell and Shabola, they were both seeing the field as well, obviously. And so I think with all the moving parts, as well as this offensive line played, and to me, that was the story of the Tennessee game, was the offensive line. Because as much as everyone was hyped up about Jeremiah Smith, obviously so, it was incredible how much time Will Howard to throw in that game. And I got to think that had a lot to do with it. They had a lot of long extended routes that he was able to hit because he had all the time in the world to throw.
That's right.
So Justin Frye deserves a lot of credit for that.
They held up throughout the playoff like nobody thought they could. They caught a whiff of that confidence after the Tennessee game, and they believed it, and they were as cohesive as any unit. You're exactly right. All those throwbacks by Will, all the rolling left, throwing back right, having time to survey the field was big. I also think what was big is they became a throw-first team, which softened the defense a little bit, surprised them. I can't tell you how many times I came in here giving them credit for a lot of their big plays came on play action early on, and first down and second down, and even on run predictable plays, they were throwing the football. So I think this is actually one of those things that Ohio State fan can just kind of sit back and go, thank you very much. You are part of this incredible development of this line through the playoff post Michigan, and now they get a chance to maybe check a different box because you're right. All we've heard about is the lack of his poor recruiting ever since he was hired here. And you're right. Did he land a single 5-star and offensive line depth? But we just lived it. That's why I started this by saying that he was in a similar lifeboat with Ryan Day, that people wanted to just push out into the ocean after the Michigan game. And here they are. And he's interviewing for the Bears job, so we'll see if he gets it.
And that's quite a reclamation project he'll have if he takes over the Bears offensive line coach, leading the league with 68 sacks. I mean, that's been an issue for them for a while. They did draft Darnell Wright with I think the 10th overall pick a couple of years ago out of Tennessee.
Is he going to be wrong or right?
I don't know, but he can't be the only one. They've definitely been trying to bolster that offense. See Caleb Williams, see Rome Odunze, but they got some issues up front in Chicago. Yeah. But if I'm an Ohio State fan, I'm kind of just thinking, well, whoever we hire is probably going to do a good job anyway because Ohio State recruits itself. Like, no, we lost Justin Frye. We can't recruit an offensive lineman. No one's going to want to come here. Like, no. So it's not that big of a deal to me. Whoever is at Ohio State is going to be in a position to be successful because of everything that has preceded you.
Well, and the other part is that it's a different world now, Cole. These guys are going for the cash. So how much they want to invest in offensive line and transfer portal is always going to be there, and then you hope you have the coach that can coach them up. Recruiting now is different. It has to be. It's driven a lot of big names out. It's got guys trying to fall back into different roles. It's just it's a different beast now on how you have to recruit a guy. You can't just say, well, this is what you're going to come here, we're going to develop you here. Yes, I know that's all important to guys, playing time and all that, and where they're going, and their position coach, but mostly it's about now they're comparing their offers from other schools.
Yeah,
all the cards are on the table now.
And Frye got here in 2022, which I believe, if I'm correct, NIL was already live at that point. So that's the environment that's already existed here since he got here. So to your point, what the priorities are for recruits, if that's the case, if you're correct, and that's probably likely to be the case, then can you really pin that on him for not bringing in 5-star recruits?
Listen,
if money is number one?
He was Ryan Day's guy anyway. Like I think this wasn't, he and Ryan had been together, at Boston College and, 10 years ago, and they had spent some time together. So he trusts him and felt like he'd be a very good coach for him. And that's why this whole journey is pretty amazing for Justin Frye. And that it took this offensive line having these injuries, having guys step up, making this run to make everybody feel like they share in the success. And he's certainly entitled to share in the success of what Ohio State had, because it was a unit that was questioned from the very beginning of the season. And all they did is take more hits and more hits. And when McLaughlin went out, it was like, now what? Like, it became, guys, it's kind of a microcosm of their story. That guys were doubted, maybe justifiably so, and their pride and competitive nature was challenged. And they came up big when they had to. It's a great microcosm of the story. The offensive line coach should get a lot of benefit from it, or a lot of praise from it. So we'll see if he goes or not.
Buyer beware. Far and away the number one team in the NFL in sacks allowed.
He's not recruiting. He's not.
I know.
He's not going to the pros to try to get talent. That's their job, to give him talent.
I know. But I'm just saying he doesn't have much to work with right now.
No, that's right. But you said buyer beware. You mean for him, not them.
Buyer beware on the Bears.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
For him looking at the Bears.
I get it. Like, the NFL is a more sustainable lifestyle. Well, I mean, actually, it's less sustainable because you're more likely to get fired. Because if you're at Ohio State, you're more likely to be successful just because the structure
He'd be joining a new coach, though.
But I just mean the lifestyle of not having to recruit and having, a little bit more time, because we know that football coaches are absolute psychos. But having a little bit more free time in the offseason, that's a lifestyle that a lot of coaches, I imagine, prefer, especially in this day and age.
This I wouldn't know on whether, if he gets that job in the NFL, how much that job pays. Is that job going to pay him $1.5 million? Or more? I really don't know.
Beats me, but I got to imagine it's a competitive offer, as they say in the job market, which can mean a lot of things, but that's what people say.
Yeah. All right, we're going to come back with our friend Cam Mellor, Executive Director of College Football Network. Should Ohio State be the favorite to repeat? We'll ask him in 2 minutes. Rothman and Ice in the Fan.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenics Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text TAP to 321321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenics Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenics Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text TAP to 321321. That's TAP to 321321.
Hey, it's Anthony. I got to tell you, when you don't have the support you need, it affects everything. Feet, knees, hips, back, even your mood. I finally went to the Good Feet store, and once I was personally fitted for my arch supports, I felt a ton better. I will never wear another pair of shoes again without sliding in my personally fit Good Feet arch supports. That's because they help me eliminate my foot pain. It's such a good feeling knowing that I can be on my feet and not worrying about I'm going to wake up with low back pain or feel a weakness somewhere. I trust the Good Feet store because for more than 30 years, they've helped thousands of people just like me get back to feeling comfort on a daily basis. They take pleasure in that. And it's their personal 3-step system designed to support, balance, and strengthen your feet that guides them into their ideal position. I'm the proof. I wear them every day, even when I'm biking at the gym. So go in, take the free test walk at the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway and on Stringtown Road in Grove City or goodfeet.com.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Anthony finally hit a hole-in-one. is in the hole. So now what? Just bask in the glory? And that's how she wrote. You're listening to Rothman and Ice.
Now what? You quit the game. You go out on a high note. That's the way you do it. Cam Mellor, our friend, executive director of the College Football Network, is with us now on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems Fangast Hotline. Cam, welcome back.
I appreciate it. I call it the George Costanza when you leave on a high note.
That's right.
That's how I always treat it.
Good night, everybody. Yes, the problem was I kept playing. Let me ask you this. Ohio State is the favorite. Should they be? To repeat.
It's such an irresponsible game to play, but if you're going to trust anybody to play the roster that they have and then play new players that they're likely set to acquire or play a bunch of new faces, why not trust someone like Ryan Day, who's just proven they could do it with a couple of hiccups in the new era? Absolutely to me, but it's not just only that. It's because I don't know who else to pick. And I think that's really where we are in the state of this constant flux of the transfer portal era. I don't know what every team is going to look like, so I'm going to go chalk, and I would absolutely say Ohio State.
You asked a good question, who to pick. The interesting part is the two teams that people are pointing to are two teams that they will both play in Columbus, Ohio this coming season. Texas in the opener. And if you want to go down the how can we trust them road, I'll go with you with Penn State when they come in November 1st because people have their roster stacking up pretty well. But so you're more in the camp of trust than roster.
I would place trust in Ryan Day, and I would place trust even though we're losing quite a few people, not just on the roster, but the staff in general. I still trust what he's been able to do and what he's been able to showcase with the constant growth. But also, I don't trust many other coaches, I think, at this point, because we know James Franklin's big game bugaboo and where he's at with that. I don't know if they replaced enough of what they lost that's going to be insurmountable for them as well. And then, Texas, we know Arch Manning's talented, but I don't know what that roster will look like either, and I think they lose too many skill players.
Where are you in – because the quarterback issue will be – certainly more trusted technically on paper with Arch Manning and Drew Aller than Ohio State with Julian Sayin or Tavion St. Clair. But maybe it's not that big of a gap for you. But usually when people start picking these all too early top 10s, top 25s, it is about do they have their quarterback coming back? But Ohio State certainly doesn't.
Correct. And, Texas has Arch Manning coming back, but we've seen him, to me, when he's been put in those pressured situations, he likes to move with his legs. So I hope we get to see Arch Manning for 12 games and then more so we can see what the actual body of work can be. If James Franklin withers in big games, then I don't know how we can say Drew Aller doesn't wither in big games as well. So to me, I go with the unknown, but also I sort of liken the Ohio State roster to the teams that you don't necessarily need the quarterback to elevate the talent of play around him. So if there's any team that's at the top of the list, the top 15, top 10, that doesn't necessarily need A-plus QB play at least right away, it's Ohio State, because when you have the best receiving core in the entire country, you don't need a quarterback that's going to elevate them. They will do it for you.
Here comes a leading question. With how much Indiana overachieved this year, they're not built to last, are they?
No. I mean, let's face it, we all watched it. I'm about 45 minutes from Athens. I watched Curtis Rourke when he was down there at OU. I knew that he was going to be the player. Unless they get a player like Curtis Rourke that's going to dominate what they did or how he did, I don't see Indiana winning double-digit games this year. But also it was that JMU talent that came in that had been primed and prepped and knew the system as well that Cincinnati wanted to run. So to me, you lose too many of the JMU carryovers, and you don't have any answers at the marquee positions in Indiana.
Yes, they will not have that cohesive nature of those JMU guys, but do you know anything about that Cal quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, who threw for more than 3,000 yards, who he did get for this year?
He actually, to me, reminds me of what we thought what Todd Centeio did do for JMU under Cincinnati as well. And, it's a lot of the same position players as well, or coaching staff members there as well. So if Mendoza gives him the level of play that Centeio did and it even pushes it upwards, and even Jordan McLeod 2 years ago as well, I think Mendoza can play pretty good football in that system. I like his fit for it, but I just don't know how you compete in a Big Ten schedule that they're going to have to face this year with those players.
Tell me a little your feeling about Oregon. Ohio State obviously had their battle with them in the first one and wiped the mat with them in the second one. They lose Dylan Gabriel. They do have some players coming back. I think that we know that Dan Lanning will probably snap back pretty fast, but is this a fairly massive rebuild for Oregon?
It's tough to say because I want to say that Dante Moore can be the heir apparent to that Oregon QB throne that's been producing quite a few talents, it feels like. But I think there's a lot of unknowns, and they're going to have to be carried by the defense, specifically Mateo Uiagalelei. To me, that's a defense that's going to have to elevate and bring their offense with them while they adjust to what, losing both tackles, losing their best receiver, losing their quarterback, losing a handful of players in the backfield as well. So it's a lot of reloading that they're going to have to do before we do say full-on rebuild in that offense. But I think that there's probably too much to overcome. It's probably still a 10-win team just based on the defense alone, though.
Georgia looked like a really good team this year, but they did not seem to be up to the caliber that they were when they were winning a couple championships in the early 2020s. Do you think they're in a vulnerable position right now, especially with the receiving core not being as talented and losing Carson Beck, which some people may view as addition by subtraction?
Yeah, it's addition by subtraction in the sense that maybe there was a headache if he didn't fit the system right, but he still was talented when he was playing for anybody other than Mike Bobo as his offensive coordinator. So to me, I am very worried for them as a Florida State graduate because I feel a shifting of the power with Billy Napier and the Florida Gators. And so I think if we're looking at a team like Georgia maybe falling down, you're going to see a team like the Gators, maybe if DJ Lagway can play what we think he can play like, that's the game right there that you pencil in and you say, who's the new shifting of power in the SEC? Is it the Georgia Bulldogs? Can they dominate the Gators again? Or has Florida reached that pinnacle? So to me, the offense for Georgia was not good this year. I think everybody that watched their games would agree, and I don't think that they're going to get any better this next year.
Visiting with our friend Cam Mellor, Executive Director of College Football Network on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. So, Cam, I'm sitting next to a Golden Domer, a big Irish fan to my right. I think that it's similar to Ohio State and Notre Dame. I think they kind of share this same narrative that they're going to miss their quarterback's leadership, but they're very excited about their young quarterback on their roster. Can Notre Dame feel as good about themselves as Ohio State fans feel about their QB room?
To me, no. I think that there might be a little bit more to what is Ohio State's quarterback room than maybe banking your hopes on C.J. Carr perhaps being the next. I feel like I've read a few stories coming from South Bend. No offense to the authors are looking for stories and glimmer of hope, but likening him almost to the impact that Arch Manning has had on Texas, and that is a little overextended to me. So no, I think he's talented. I think what we can produce maybe from that position, and what we've seen Coach Freeman do with Sam Hartman ushering in that era properly, and then ushering in the Riley Leonard era properly, I think that he is, again, I go back to trust. I will trust Marcus Freeman to build around the quarterback whatever decision is made and wherever they have to go this year with the right pieces. And if you have to rely on any running back that's in the country, Jeremiah Love's my favorite to rely on.
For people that aren't aware, C.J. Carr is the grandson of former Michigan coach Lloyd Carr. We got to see Steve Angeli, when he had to go in, play pretty well. Does he have a shot at this job over Carr, or would he even have a lead over Carr?
It probably has a lead at this point, but I think you look at probably the ceiling that Carr would present is going to be much higher than his, and to me, so that's where I look at it. Depending on what we get from C.J. Carr from spring ball through the summer and into the fall, it's one of those to me that I'm penciling in as going to be one of the most influential QB battles of the season with college football playoff aspirations. If Carr does look the part, there's probably no reason not to put him in that lineup pretty soon.
What kind of a chance do you give Jalen Milroe to be successful in the NFL?
It's tough. I know that we want to look at him and we want to say he can play and he can pencil in into the NFL. To me, there was never an instance in his college career at Alabama that he was accurate between 10 and 19 yards down the field. He might have had the prettiest deep ball. He might have had the strongest arm in the SEC this past season, or even 2 years now. But to me, what's the point of having a howitzer if you don't have a missile tracking system with it? And so if he can't make the NFL throws, there's not an NFL offense that he is going to pencil himself into within 3 years.
All right, speaking of trust, since we started with that theme, I'll end on that theme. Where do you think Ryan Day will be, and presumably, let's say Chip Kelly sticks, with Tavian St. Clair? Does he have, because saying, obviously people think this isn't talent versus athleticism or anything like that. I think they're both going to be very talented. Do you see this being a fight till the end, till the start of the year against Texas, or do you think saying it's going to be his job to lose?
It's tough because to me, I look at St. Clair and I got to watch a lot of his tape, and I trust those that I've put in place to be my recruiting directors. and his ceiling is way too high. And to me, the ability that he has with the football in his hand and how well he's able to maneuver, make pockets, reset pockets, and then buy time on his own, not to mention, I think there's just a level of backyard football, but he still looks like one of the prototypical pocket passers, and I think that his arm talent might shine through. And so to me, I'd say go St. Clair just as long as, we get enough of him in spring and summer and into the fall as well. But I think that the ceiling should be higher, and I would trust Ryan Day to make the right call with St. Clair.
It's going to be fun. That'll be a fun competition. It may actually be a real competition this fall and, into the season. All right, Cam, great job as always, bud. Be well. We'll talk again soon.
My pleasure, guys. Thanks as always.
Cam Mellor, Executive Director of College Football Network at CFN 365. We will come back. Caitlin Clark turning down a chance to compete against the best. Why? And is she making the right move? Rothman and Ice in the Fan.
We used to have a billboard with our host's face on it, but only ugly people work here now.
You mama say you ugly, hey!
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Bets are us when dreams sunk in. Bets are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
Bets are us when dreams sunk in. Bets are us.
Hey, Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived. The only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, you name it. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Use promo code JUSTSPORTS. Get a welcome bonus up to $100. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Common Man and T-Bone here. Bone, did you know that the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus has over 30 TVs, 2 massive video walls? They even have recliners, a full-service bar and restaurant, a betting counter, and over 30 kiosks?
I did know that, but I also know that you can reserve a table right now at Hollywood Casino Columbus at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook and guarantee your spot and get some game day swag while you do it. Just visit hollywoodcolumbus.com/casino/sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, can we talk? It's a new year and I need to move on. We had a great run, but you're old now. So I'm trading you in at Great Lakes Kia.
And new Kias are under $5 a day.
That's less than lunch.
Lease new Kia K4, K5, and Sorrentos. All 3 under $5 a day. At Great Lakes Kia.
That's only $149 a month for 24 months.
Yes, new 25 Kia K5 LXS, K4 LXS, and Sorrento LX. Standard with 3rd row seating. All 3 under $5 a day.
That Kia Sorrento is hot.
And we've got 0% financing.
But what if I'm not good enough for credit?
If you've got a job, you ride.
Under $5 a day.
Great cars, great people, Great Lakes Kia. GreatLakesKia.com. Want to take it for a test drive?
Oh, he needs to meet my parents first. To qualified buyers, visit GreatLakesKia.com for details.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
Next on Metro's Nada Yada Island podcast.
I almost fainted when the 4 new bombshells arrived. 4 free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G phones at Metro.
No way.
And finding out the 4th line is free. Oh, things got heated.
That's wild. Join Metro and get 4 free Samsung 5G phones. Only at Metro.
Plus tax. Bring 4 numbers and an ID and sign up for any Metro Flex plan. Not available currently at T-Mobile or been with Metro in the past 180 days.
Jake Diebler's Buckeyes hit the road for a Big Ten battle with Penn State.
Live fan coverage starts Thursday at 5:30, right after Common Man and T-Bone.
Every game, every season, proud to be your flagship home of the Buckeyes. The Fan.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code LEARN for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code LEARN for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code LEARN.
It's almost Football Friday. All play and no work.
Sponsored by Tansky Sawmill Toyota.
Your home for football, The Fan. True to his name, Matty Ice wears a winter coat in the middle of summer. He lives the gimmick, man. You're listening to Rothman and Ice.
All right, so you guys already know, Caitlin Clark is very polarizing to a lot of people. Whether she deserved all the attention, the fight, the infighting amongst the WNBA on whether they're just showcasing her and everybody else that built the league and all that isn't getting their praise and all that. All I know is that she's been a star and she's been inspirational to a lot of people, and she's got in the gym range, and that's what separates her from a lot of people. It doesn't mean there's not talent in that league. There is. Of course there is. There's different talent at different positions. But when you're a shooter like she is, and there are other great shooters, but she came in with so much hype, and that hype has continued. The NBA sees the popularity, they see the talent, and they wanted to tap into that for the All-Star game and the three-point contest. And so this would have been a massive appeal to get more eyes on the All-Star game, especially the skills, if you would have put Caitlin Clark against Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. And I guess Sabrina Ionescu is doing it again. Am I wrong?
I can't swear to that, but I know she did it last year.
Yeah. And I guess that she's in discussion still with the league, but everyone is reporting now that she's not interested in shooting three-pointers off the ball rack, and considering that her practice regimen is only catch and shoot threes or shots off the dribble. I didn't really think about it that way, but it's probably the only way to think about it is, would she be successful in doing it, or somewhat successful, and that it wouldn't ruin any type of allure that she has? Because if she had a horrible shooting night.
Oh, so you're suggesting she's ducking it?
I'm suggesting I don't think
it's a bad take. I'm not trying to lead you away from that. I'm saying that's interesting. I didn't think of it that way.
Well, I'm suggesting that it's probably the only way to look at it. She doesn't need any more hype. She doesn't need any more stardom. So the only way she would consider doing it, Cole, would be, will I be trying to predict how good I could be that night in that arena against those players? She has more. I'm not saying she has really anything to lose technically, because people expect her to lose to those guys.
Yeah, and no one's talking about Sabrina Ionescu last year losing and going,
can you not Caitlin Clark?
I know.
And so if it's Brick City, then, which I wouldn't expect it to be, and nor should she expect it, but I started thinking about that whole, well, I shoot off the dribble and I shoot catch and shoot off the pass. Now I have to grab a ball off the rack and shoot it almost like a free throw in a way.
Was there anything to possibly that she wanted to just have her first one in the WNBA, her first three-point contest?
I think that's what the narrative is, that she'd rather compete in her league's skills than the NBA. And I think that's probably I'm inclined to think that is the right way to look at it. I was only bringing up something that I had not thought of until now, that when she practices threes, she doesn't roll out a rack of basketballs.
Do the guys, though?
I don't know.
Why would that be? Why would there be a gender gap between
pregame, probably
how they shoot threes?
In a way,
yeah. But you have a rebounder. You have a team manager grabbing rebounds for you, just kicking you the ball.
I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it's just, to me, it's a little more lost for that would get me to watch, I would.
Oh, yeah, because NBA All-Star Weekend is a farce at this point. I mean, they're pulling up guys from the G League for the dunk contest. NBA All-Star Weekend.
Not Bronny.
No.
He would not be one of the...
No, because he's in the NBA right now, having 15 minutes of cardio against the 76ers. Now, do you think that's possibly why Caitlin Clark denied, or I shouldn't even say denied, but perhaps just flat out did not respond, which is a denial, to Ice Cube's offer for $5 million to go play the Big Three?
You mean she would have done that and done the WNBA?
I interpret it that way. However, now that you say that, I'm pretty sure that those two coincide, so I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, I don't.
But that's a once-a-week league.
I don't know.
$5 million.
All I know is the NBA is doing everything they can to keep trying to window dress All-Star Game weekend, and that makes sense. So I really don't know whether or not the idea of Caitlin Clark in the mix is a priority for them, but everyone has a price, and I'm sure if they gave her an offer that she thought was worthy of her talent, exactly, CB, I would say that it's not over until it's over.
He hates that, by the way.
And she may also be maybe dragging, not accusing her of anything.
No,
but there's more drama.
Come on, I like this.
There's more drama to dragging this out to the 11th hour.
She's image conscious, perhaps.
That, okay, Caitlin Clark's going to shoot. She's going to go out there and do it.
I mean, at this point, it probably just is what it is, like the fame and the stardom. We talked earlier in the show, for those of you who were listening along, a lot about the Kelseys and Mahomes and are we tired of the Chiefs. I'm sure there was some Caitlin Clark fatigue. Like, you want to talk about oversaturation? She was the biggest thing since LeBron versus Jordan. And so this probably just is par for the course for her. I don't think she needs to probably go along, unless she's like super image conscious, like LeBron.
Listen, she was the NCAA all-time leading scorer.
Mm-hmm.
I know there was debates about that as well. Rookie of the year.
Compared the women to the men.
Rookie of the year.
That was ridiculous. Fox did that just because they had the game.
All WNBA first team. Then she got the peripheral stuff, Time Athlete of the Year, the face of women's sports, all that. Mm-hmm. She's 23. And so I don't think she's afraid of this. I just think that you would consider it if you were her team, her agent, herself. I just want to make sure that I live up to a certain standard of my athleticism. That's who she is.
No, I don't follow her for that at all, if that's what the case may be. I was talking about as far as like dragging it out, building some drama. I don't think she cares that much about that. But yeah, I can totally see why she would be like, look, I don't want to go out there and embarrass myself. Like, she has some pride, for sure. So
how did Ionescu do last year? Do you remember?
I'm pretty sure it was close, and this is off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure Steph Curry won close, but it was a head-to-head, her versus Curry. There was some controversy because he used a men's ball, she used a women's ball. It was a gimmick to begin with, and it ended as a gimmick, so it's fine.
Why would there be controversy that she used the ball she normally uses versus the men using the ball they normally use?
I guess because if Steph Curry used a women's ball that was smaller, he may have an advantage because it's lighter. Yeah. It's easier to shoot. I'll tell you, I can go out there and pop a shot, and I can shoot a lot better than I can go shoot out on a real court. So, I don't know. Maybe the smaller ball has something to do with it. I think that's a little bit
of a cheap shot there. Not from you, but from them about saying that, just because she's shooting three-point contests with the men, that she should use the men's basketball. That's not what she shoots with.
I know.
Maybe that's news to people. Maybe people don't realize that the women's ball is smaller.
No, the cheap shots are rooted in... People don't think that she's actually better. She's not a better basketball player than NBA players, but the NBA is trying to do something to make her look like she's a better. Yes, but they're trying to do something to make her look like she can compete for some sort of like a quality stance or something. That's what that's rooted in, is suspicion and conspiracy, which I'm not even saying is incorrect. That they're involving WNBA players in NBA All-Star Weekend as an equality play versus anything else. It could just be a gimmick just because, I mean, look, Caitlin Clark's different.
She doesn't need this.
Sabrina Ionescu is well-known in basketball circles. She's not like a household name. Caitlin Clark, everybody in America has heard that name at some point. So this is a little bit different. But she's apparently not
Sports Business
interested.
Journal tweeted, if you're waiting to watch Caitlin Clark at the NBA's three-point contest, sorry to disappoint. It's officially not happening. she wants her first three-point contest to be in front of fans in Indy this summer. Okay, makes sense.
All right.
Right?
So
that does make sense.
I see. That's what I thought, that it'd be like some kind of virtuous play.
But you have to consider, she has to consider, if she really did want to do this, that you could look at it as she has nothing to lose because she's expected to lose.
Yeah.
But I think she does have a little something to lose, and that it just can't be awful.
Yeah, but what if she does that in Indiana anyway? Like, what if she bombs then?
It's more of an off-shooting night in a way.
I know. Is she going to have rebounders passing her the ball in a three-point contest, or is she going to be picking balls off the rack just like everybody else?
That's the hard question of the presser, sir, that you're going to have to ask.
And you know what? So that variable probably doesn't matter.
Yeah. All right, so she's declined it for now.
We'll talk about Cam Newton at some point.
Even though a lot of people think that the drama could continue for the next couple of weeks. We'll come back top of the hour after a SportsCenter update. Should the Bengals find the cash? That's next. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
If you haven't thought about Buckeye football today, I'm sorry to tell you that you're dead. Our condolences. Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Let's get it started.
Lindsay Honda starts this year off by giving you cash for your clunker. Up to $2,500 or $3,500 minimum for any trade. It's Lindsay Honda's Cash for Clunkers. 2025 CRVs and Ridgelines, both $299 a month. That's $299 a month or clunker cash going on now.
The lot is full and the deals are on.
See lindsayhonda.com for program details. Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
I'm sure you've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelfie?
Just send them a text.
Text CORE to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic, but for 80 to 90% less and 100% online. Don't wait. Text CORE to 200-300 right now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text CORE to 200-300. That's CORE to 200-300. CORE to 200-300.
Lowe's knows how to help you save time and money, no matter the job. That's why we can deliver supplies to your job site as soon as same day, so you have more time to get the job done. Because when you need it fast, we've got you covered. Lowe's knows pros. Valid on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes placed by 2 p.m. for same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Something amazing is happening here. Scientists are using AI to study how whales talk to each other. CDW experts can give researchers the power to process complex data with HP workstations, advanced by AMD Ryzen Threadripper Pro processors. With easier handling of AI workloads, your organization can bring powerful insights to the surface. Make amazing happen. HP, AMD, and CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/HPAMD.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good afternoon. I'm Matt Andrews. Cavaliers, no trouble with Miami last night. 126-106. Cleveland beat the Heat. Cavs shot 54% from the floor. Donovan Mitchell had 34 to pace the Cavaliers. Kenny Atkinson, the head coach, on the Cavs defense.
Above all, we defended. We had that one bad quarter defensively, but the rest, low 20s, mid 20s. So great defensive performance for the most part.
Cavs now 38-9 on the year. They play tonight at home versus Atlanta at 7. Buckeye basketball at Happy Valley tonight. They'll play at Rec Hall against the Lions. OSU coming off a win Monday here against Iowa. Paul, Ron, and Skip will have the broadcast from State College tonight, starting at 5:45 here on The Fan. Breaking sports news on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Dog friendly. And if you ain't down with that, this is Rothman and Ice.
All right, second hour of the program. Rothman and Ice. CB Part 2 to the right. Cole Bartimus. Our man CB at the switches as well. We'll get into it with Dan Dakich, bottom of the hour at 1:30. Talk Buckeye hoops with him as they go over to Penn State. They are a dog tonight. Both teams are used to playing close games. I may have a Bet365 for you in there somewhere along the way. You brought up Cam Newton right before we went to break, so let's pay off on that since you kind of slipped it in there. You kind of beat the buzzer on that.
I was just making fun of us for teasing it in the first segment and then never getting around to it.
Did we ever really tease it?
Sometimes we get lost.
Why would you call us out for that? Right?
Because sometimes we just get lost in conversation, and that is perfectly okay.
CB,
in fact, it's preferred.
Why would he draw attention to that, though?
I think we need to go to the replay booth, but I think it was done. He's honest.
It definitely was done. I'm not denying that. It's just then circling back and bringing attention to it. That's a little bit of a party foul.
He's just an honest man.
Yes.
Yeah, he's very excited about it.
I'm a fair arbiter, even though I'm involved.
Simple. All right. Maybe it is just that simple. What else is simple is that I heard this story floating around Cowboyville even well before Cam Newton said it. And that's why I can't really I don't know if I should give him credit or not for this. Do we have the actual soundbite on this or no? This is just paraphrasing this?
No, so here's what I got. And I couldn't find it. First Take didn't tweet it out.
Before you say what he said.
Okay.
I heard a week ago when they were thinking about hiring Brian Schottenheimer, that Cowboy fans were 100% in the Jerry doesn't care and that he's tanking and that they want a certain quarterback coming out in next year's draft. And it was all over. The only explanation that people could come to is that Jerry Jones was tanking for Arch Manning.
Oh, please.
So then he can kind of buy low, sell high right now on his team. And when I heard you say this morning, hey, guess what Cam Newton said?
Yeah.
He said something very similar to something that I've heard for a week.
Yeah, so I don't have the video, so we'll believe the transcript that On3 tweeted out. Here's the quote from Cam Newton from First Take today. I think they're tanking for Arch. Make it make sense. Coach Schottenheimer has one and done written all over him. Jerry Jones is a businessman, and he's going to get it. He's going to get in his Don Corleone mentality, and he's going to give him a deal that he can't refuse. Who? Nick Saban. Go get Nick Saban as your head coach and Arch Manning as your number one pick. That is such a lazy take. I can't believe it. I said that part at the end. So Arch Manning, number one next year. So you tank this year. You promote Brian Schottenheimer, who everybody is saying, oh, that's the worst hire ever. He hasn't even coached a game yet, so we'll see. I mean, maybe. We'll see.
Hope to lose.
Hope to lose. Like all of them, apparently, because you don't want to go like 4-13, because that's only going to get you like the number 4 slot, and then you don't know. So bomb the season, get rid of this head coach, hire Nick Saban, who kind of just went on a podcast last week and said that I'm too old for this S, and then hire him anyway.
Be too old for college, or did he mean too old for football coaching?
His implication, and it was on the Pivot podcast, and I, again, don't have the audio because now we're just improvising, but what basically he said was that I only know how to do this one way, and I'm going all out for it, which I interpreted that as like film study through the middle of the night and no sleep, and where he was like, I'm going to kill myself if I keep doing this. Like, I'm going to literally work myself to death. He's got
the cake gig now, right?
Yeah.
He's enjoying his retirement years around the game, hand in the game, no heavy lifting, decent amount of cash still flowing in, Ferrari still gassed up. He's fine. I'll tell you where I think this came from.
He gets Affleck paychecks.
Yeah, I'll tell you where I think this came from. As you know, Arch Manning's grandfather is Archie Manning.
Mm-hmm.
And he admitted, so I guess this is how the story goes. He was in a bar. He has a sports bar in New Orleans. Maybe we'll go, CB. Who knows? Maybe we'll find Manning Sports Bar.
A live broadcast.
Archie Manning. And he was being nice to a guy who was at the bar. This is how the story goes. And he told this guy, as they started talking about his grandson, that he hopes Arch will play 3 years of college football. And he said, and then maybe to the guy said to him, and maybe to the Cowboys. And he said, that'd be fine with me. He goes, I didn't know he was going to put that on TikTok. So now his grandfather is, I guess, in a video with some guy saying, how about the Cowboys? And him saying, that'd be fine with me. And so now everyone's taking this big leap that he is going to give his grandson the same treatment he gave his son, which is try to talk him into going to a certain place.
Oh, please.
I don't even know. I'm going to make the assumption that Arch Manning's going to declare for the draft in 2026. I'll make that assumption. It all depends on how he develops over the next year.
I'll play ball with that.
Okay. If he ends up on the Cowboys, that's a pretty big deal. Be a big name, big deal. He is the number one guy right now, unless Nico Iamaleava plays his way into that role.
And he's got some work to do.
Or Nussmeier or somebody else. But, yeah, I think
Drew Aller.
Oh, please. Oh. Lenoris Sellers.
Yes, from South Carolina.
Yeah.
Freshman of the year.
Exactly. Yeah. Redshirt freshman, which I don't, and not to derail the segment, I don't know why Aaron Nolan went there. But anyway, that's a side topic.
I don't even know if Drew Aller would be a top 5 quarterback in the end.
We were talking about him at number 2 for the Browns if he would have gone.
Yeah, because let's do this thing. When we do an NFL mock draft, wouldn't it be a cute story? Right? Like, wouldn't it be a cute story that Nick Saban and Arch Manning and the Cowboys, all of these names that we know, because that's how this works, wouldn't it be cute if the Jets interviewed Rex Ryan? Because it's just names and faces we know. It all just makes sense.
Well,
no, it doesn't.
I used to call it the Gruden effect. Every opening there ever was, he was on the list.
Just because he's a face on TV that we're familiar with?
Well, he's a former Super Bowl winning coach, too. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't just a face and a name. He was a popular guy. You're right. The TV part keeps him relevant. Now, those guys will say that they're not going on TV to stay relevant. They're going on TV to stay around the game and to scout players and to make sure, because they may want to get back in. And if they want to get back in, they need to be familiar with what's going on. And
I didn't consider that angle of it. Scouting players, even when you're away, that's pretty good. And
if they want to get back in the game.
Yeah. And most do.
I knew that. I'll tell you 100%. That's why Tortorella did the point and went to be on TV. It's not that he loved it. He wanted to be around the game. He wanted to coach again.
Yeah.
He was staying involved with people who are close to players and this and the moving parts of the league. Now, can you do that from home? Yeah, you can. But it's a little more advantageous if you stay in the game.
Yeah, retiring early sounds great until you have nothing to do all day.
It'd be the same thing in our business at the highest level. There are guys that leave certain places, and the most important thing they can do is stay on the air, no matter where they do it, how they do it.
Yeah, they retire from radio and start a podcast.
Right.
Big difference.
Well, they do want to stay relevant and be on the air but you could look at it from more of a fundamental standpoint, is it allows them to keep working on their craft, doing the reps. Doing this every day is different than doing it once every 8 months. And so guys tend to want to keep their hand in the game. And that's what some of these guys have done. When you said Saban and Arch Manning, okay, that sounds fun. 2 big names.
Yeah.
And one guy way past it in Saban. And by the way, when was the last time we thought that Saban would be a good NFL coach?
2004. And then it quickly turned into, not a very good NFL coach.
Yeah. So didn't he lie about it and all that?
Yeah. How many times do I have to say this? I'm not going to be the coach at Alabama. Well, you're the coach at Alabama.
Or Miami, you mean?
Oh, you mean leaving LSU to go to Miami?
That's right.
I know that he lied about leaving Miami to go back to Alabama. But either way, this just seems like a take that people throw out there where it's just names and faces we know, so let's put them all together.
No, what they're trying to do, Cole, is they're trying to come up with some logical reasoning that Jerry Jones hired Brian Schottenheimer and didn't even try to attract to his Dallas Cowboys two of the biggest coordinators that were out there, which is Ben Johnson and Glenn.
I know, but here's the thing. Here's another issue that I have with this. How do we know that Arch Manning is just a slam dunk number one pick just because his last name is Manning? Like, he's been in college football for 2 years as a backup. This isn't like the NBA where we know their probably junior year of high school that they're going to be the number one pick. We know it with Cooper Flagg. We knew it with Cade Cunningham. We knew it with Victor Wembanyama. We knew it with Zion Williamson. So in that league, you can do that. But in this one, he's been a backup for 2 years to a quarterback that no one thinks is any good anymore.
There is some appeal. He has, I think people believe,
a name.
No, not just a name.
Really?
He's got traits of being a good quarterback. You've got to admit that.
Yeah.
He can run. He can throw. He hasn't had the seasoning yet. I agree with you. It's not a slam dunk. He's overall one of one.
They did this with Belichick, too. It was, all right, hey, man, if they want to fire McCarthy, they have a reason to because now Bill Belichick's available. It's just putting together a bunch of names and faces we know. It's the lazy way to do it. Weird how no other team other than the Jets interviewed Rex Ryan.
But you think Belichick would have been a viable candidate for the Cowboys, right? If he was interested and Jerry was interested, I don't think anybody would have laughed at that happened.
No. I think those two would have been oil and water, which is a separate issue.
Well, they might have been, but the thing about Belichick is he was only umpteen games behind Shula, and he could coach the Dallas Cowboys. I think that's the most shocking thing that's around, that he wanted to still coach but went to college.
Colin, can you name anything Raheem Morris did with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Because that's who Atlanta chose over Belichick.
No, it wasn't great.
No, see, no one remembers the Raheem Morris era, and somehow he was a more viable candidate than
Coach of the
Bill
Year
Belichick.
watch list.
Very nice.
He was on my watch list.
You got the drums and cymbals.
I did. I had the Raheem Morris.
You can give it to yourself.
Coach of the Year watch list.
All right. But that's who Atlanta chose over Bill Belichick. So we're all kind of just doing a bunch of fan fiction type stuff.
Did Belichick want to go there?
He interviewed twice. I assume so.
Did he really?
Yeah, with Atlanta.
Yeah. All right, then. So he wanted to work for Arthur Blank and have Kirk Cousins versus Dak and Jerry.
Well, both don't sound that appealing the way that you put it like that. Because you said, you really want to work for Arthur Blank and Kirk Cousins? I'm like, well.
No, I do like that more than the Jerry. Everything you've heard about Arthur Blank sounds great.
Oh, I like him. I mean, it's, not that I know him or anything like that, but on TV, he seems cool.
Now Belichick's and Chapel Bill as their
Home Depot.
We will come back, and guess what, Cole? We'll pay off on that tease. The Bengals have to find some cash, or do they? Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. And everybody's had these pains, these little nicks, these things that you maybe had an injury when you were younger and you thought it went away. And then all of a sudden, as you get older, it starts to creep back. Doing everything, walking up the stairs, doing your favorite activities, golf, skiing, whatever it might be, the summer, the spring, the winter, it hurts. Hey, do not deal with it any longer. The hip, the knee, the shoulder, the back, whatever it is, there's good news. Go to QC Kinetics. They're groundbreaking treatments for that arthritis pain. They're going to make you feel better. The long-term relief, it's now possible. They're right here in Columbus under the leadership of Dr. Ray Tesner, founder of Grant Sport Medicine and a classically trained orthopedic surgeon. Don't wait. Make the call today. My dad and I did. His knee's starting to feel better. My knee feels better. They've got PRP treatments. They can change your life. I'm telling you right now. So go to qckinetics.com/Columbus for your free consultation or give them a call at 380-208-4544. It's not going to go away on its own. They've got 2 offices in Dublin and Gahanna, so check them out.
Breaking never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Well, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Hey, can we talk? It's a new year and I need to move on. We had a great run, but you're old now. So I'm trading you in at Great Lakes Kia.
And new Kias are under $5 a day.
That's less than lunch.
Lease new Kia K4, K5, and Sorrentos. All three under $5 a day. At Great Lakes Kia.
That's only $149 a month for 24 months.
Yes, new 25 Kia K5 LXS, K4 LXS, and Sorrento LX. Standard with third row seating. All three under $5 a day.
That Kia Sorrento is hot.
And we've got 0% financing.
But what if I'm not good enough for credit?
If you've got a job, you ride.
Under $5 a day.
Great cars, great people, Great Lakes Kia. GreatLakesKia.com. Want to take it for a test drive?
Oh, he needs to meet my parents first. To qualified buyers, visit GreatLakesKia.com for details.
Most radio stations suck. Here's why. They don't invest in local programming. We're live and local 14 hours a day. You can rest assured that every stupid thing we say is 100% local. Homegrown dumb since day one. The Fan.
Sometimes the best time to prune trees is when they're dormant or with no leaves on them. For ISA certified arborists, it helps them see what branches may need to be pruned or removed. Dormant season pruning can also help lessen problems associated with insects and diseases and help create structurally stronger trees that can better handle heavy wet snows or ice buildup. Contact an ISA certified arborist to get the best professional advice on keeping your trees healthy and safe. Go to treesforohio.org. That's trees, the number 4, ohio.org.
Have you ever told a friend?
Oh, I'm fine.
When you really felt?
Just so overwhelmed.
Or sent a text?
Can't sleep. Are you awake?
When you couldn't find the words to say?
I'm scared to be alone with my thoughts right now.
Then this is your sign to reach out to the 988 Lifeline for 24/7 free confidential support. You don't have to hide how you feel. Text, call, or chat anytime.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Cloud cover will be increasing as we head into the afternoon. Today's high 48. Rain comes in this evening between about 6 and 8 p.m. It'll be raining pretty heavily on your Friday morning. It'll be warm tomorrow with a high of 58. Colder on Saturday, but the sunshine returns with a high of 41. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365, the official online sports book of Rothman and Ice. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
You're listening to Rothman and Ice, the #1 rated midday show in Columbus.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus, the #1 rated windows and doors in Columbus.
Colin, we have another guy for you to drive to the airport, if you're willing. I don't know if your light is on. Are you on duty or off duty?
Well, I was going to say, I think the person you're referring to has already been taken to the airport.
Possibly. Maybe that's true. But maybe you could be like a town car or something. You could upgrade for him. The reports are the Cowboys are considering Ken Dorsey for their OC opening. The former OC. I know that you thought.
Yeah, I mean, he's already gone, but I can help him book the flight if he needs to.
That's what I mean. I mean, you're not only a guy that'll help a guy, leave your team, but even when he's gone, you feel like it's a good Samaritan thing.
The reputations of offensive coordinators in the NFL are like relief pitchers. Like, they're just yo-yos. Like, a couple years ago in Buffalo, it was, Ken Dorsey. He's starting to get some looks. He's doing some interviews. He is a bright young mind in football. And then he got fired. Then he went to Cleveland. He is no longer the OC there either. And so, I mean, look, Bobby Slowick. Last year,
Houston.
Anytime a broadcaster would mention Bobby Slowick, oh my goodness.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this year he got fired.
Well, because they couldn't protect Stroud.
I'm just saying, some of these guys are great. Some of these guys are terrible. I don't know. We'll find out
it's
when
something in between. It's not their fault.
Yeah.
Like, it's what I'm saying. Like, they
may
can't
not be the solution, though, either.
Yeah, but I mean,
my whole point is we don't know. Everyone wants to sell us on every single coordinator is the next great bright young mind in football.
You were the one selling us Arthur Smith like he was.
No, I was not. I said this entire season was a win. And then
strong offensive line?
No. Oh, my God, no. Oh, no.
See, you told me you got the best out of my boy Ryan Tannehill?
Exactly. What you don't want to do, when you have a bad offensive line, you don't want to draft a running back in the first round and then the next year draft a bad quarterback in the first round just because he goes to college in the same city in which you are playing professional.
You have to admit, though, during those couple seasons, that Titans offense was pretty good considering who they had at quarterback, because the only teams that they were worse in like per play efficiency was Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and probably Jordan Love.
Yeah, dude, those Titans teams were good. In fact, the first year of Tannehill there, where he kind of had like that extended free agency and they signed him late, and then Marcus Mariota started the season and then got benched for Tannehill. Like, Tannehill, when he came in that first year, was like the best quarterback in the NFL. And like, no joke. And then they went to the playoffs and then he remembered who he was again. But those Titans teams were good.
They almost beat the Bengals that year, and he probably should have. I kind of blame them on being too aggressive after they tied that game, and he threw that pass down the middle, was picked, and the Bengals go on to the Super Bowl. They
had the 1 seed.
They had the Bengals on the ropes when they came back, like momentum-wise.
Did they sack Joe Burrow like 9 times in that game?
That sounds like the right game.
I think that's what it was.
But as far as Dorsey goes, I mean, that was a great offense when he was with Buffalo.
Until it wasn't. And then someone
First
needed
half
to go.
Of the season, right. And then somebody
they
has
had
to
a
go.
mediocre record.
That's what happens.
And then everyone's saying, oh, Sean McDermott, man, he's on the chopping block. And then he found somebody else.
We just had this conversation the other day about Lou Anarumo. He's like the next greatest thing.
Yeah.
And then when they don't have the players or draft picks don't work out, or they don't have anybody to pressure the quarterback, or they don't re-sign somebody on the back end, then all of a sudden he's a bad coach.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, do I realize that someone had to pay the price? Yeah, that's big-time sports. Let me ask, speaking of paying the price, everybody wants the Bengals to sign Tee Higgins and try to figure out how they're going to pay Jamar Chase north of $35 million a year. Burrow, his contract's already on the books.
55?
Yes, over $3 million a game. And now they're going to find a way to pay Tee Higgins what he may be getting from somebody else. First of all, I like Tee Higgins. He's very talented. This would be a luxury if you could have them all. But the last I checked, they better start spending some money on defense.
Yeah.
And not putting more money into the offense. If you have $70 million a year tied up in receivers, plus Burrow, then I just don't understand how this is a smart move considering they're so imbalanced right now as a team.
I felt the same way, having the same concerns about their imbalance, and I was very much in on the you should be drafting Penei Sewell and not Jamar Chase thing from like 4 years ago. But it kind of just seems like this offensive firepower just works for them. Like, Tee Higgins was 9th in the league in yards per game this year. Granted, he didn't have as many yards as he would because he was hurt and, you know, best abilities, availability, whatever, all that stuff. Like, he is a really, really talented receiver. And he made $21 million this year. And the top 2 highest paid wide receiver 2s were Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith, who made 28 and 25. So his uptick financially, like, there's no way you're paying him like wide receiver. Like, you can't pay him like $35 million. Like, he's not getting the same money Chase is, and if he doesn't like that, so be it.
That's the whole point of it. If he really wants to stay, and I'm not, if he wants to go find a place that's not as good as having Joe Burrow, but making $5 more million a year, then go do it if that's what's important to you. But these people that are accusing the Bengals of not ponying up for Tee Higgins, I mean, they lost 2 games this year when they scored 38. They lost those games.
Yeah.
And so the offense didn't click early because Burrow wasn't clicking early, and he had some bad turnovers this year. And so they were chasing it. They chased it big time. If they would have beaten the Steelers coming out of that bye, and not giving up 400-plus yards to Russ, they probably would have been in the playoffs because they won their last 5 in a row. Mm-hmm. So I'm here to tell you that I'm all for Tee Higgins. He's a great talent. I'm just trying to be practical about what this team truly needs and where they should be spending their money. He's not he's not a cheap option. And so they're in a really tough spot. You're certainly not going to invest in Jamar Chase. You're not going to go down the road of trying to franchise him and trade him and sign T. That's not what they're doing. So I feel like the most realistic scenario is that you re-sign Chase with all the money it's going to take. You make him the highest paid non-quarterback in the league, and you have to let T go.
Oh, man.
Unless he'll take $28 million a year, and then you can probably find it and make it work.
Say, hey,
I don't know if he will.
We'll make you the highest paid number 2 and bump him up to 29. If you round up, he's actually at $22 million a year. Mm-hmm. So if you say, hey, we'll put you right above Jalen Waddle, make you the highest paid wide receiver 2 in the NFL. You're not going to be making Jamar Chase money, so you'll have to put your ego aside a little bit. But
but if you were him, there are 2 options here. If I'm him and I can go to the Buffalo Bills. And make $30 million a year, then I'm going to do that.
Get paid and get treated like a wide receiver.
Yes, but if I've got to go to New England or Denver, well, Denver's maybe a little different just because Bo's coming on a little bit. Maybe the better one would be the Raiders. Who's quarterbacking them?
They desperately need a quarterback. They also desperately need a wide receiver 1.
Yes, because their wide receiver 1 was Brock Bowers.
Okay, don't say that like he's just, it's Brock Bowers. Like, Brock Bowers is awesome.
I had him. Me losing fantasy this year, drafting Jaden Daniels, Saquon Barkley, and Brock Bowers is a travesty.
I agree.
A travesty. I hit on
I
the
hope it's dynasty.
It's not.
It's Daniels and Bowers.
It's a redraft.
Oh, man. But, yeah, the Raiders could definitely use one.
That's very nice.
Yeah. It was very nice until it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're all in on if Higgins wants $30 million, he has to walk.
Yeah, I would. I said pay him 29. So am I going to freak out if they pay him 30? No.
Well, I'm not. I don't have their books, Al Capone. I don't really know.
We are getting carried away. Hold on. I shouldn't lump you in. I'm getting a little bit carried away, and you'll probably have to move some money around to make it work because
so will the Bills.
Jamar Chase is the big one. Like he made $4 million this past year, and he's going to be due for 35 the second he gets an extension.
And he'd probably love to stay in the AFC if he has the right quarterback. Not with the Raiders, probably not Denver, but Buffalo.
And so if you're Tee Higgins, it comes down to, do you think that you are currently on a Super Bowl contender? If so, probably want to stay. I mean, none of these guys.
No, he knows he's on. He knows he's on technically a contender.
Well, you missed the playoffs, so let's not be too generous.
Yes, but I think most people feel that if they make some additions on this defense, they'll be a contender. You're right.
Don't lose the Patriots week 1.
And that was Burrow's fault.
Mm-hmm.
That one was his.
Would have made
put that on him. Well, no, actually, who was the guy that fumbled at the 5? He had a tight end, I believe, that fumbled early in that game that was going in. You know what? I take that back. I'm not putting that on him.
All right.
I'm going to actually give the name because I don't want. Was it Tanner Hudson? Was he the one that fumbled going in? I'll have to check.
I'm pretty good with obscure references. This one's escaping me.
I think it was. He hit a guy at the 5-yard line. He got the ball ripped out. They lost that game 16-10. All right, we come back with our friend Dan Dakich. Does he like the Buckeyes tonight at Penn State? Find out in 2 minutes. Rothman and Ice in the Fan.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
They're trained. They're fired up.
Let's do it.
When you need heat, they can't be beat. They're Ohio State's undefeated heating and cooling team. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hey Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived. The only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, you name it. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Use promo code JUSTSPORTS. Get a welcome bonus up to $100 and be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
No one funks up the work microwave like these two. Fish again? You're listening to Rothman and Ice.
All right, here we go. Our best time of the week. Our time with Double D, Dan Dakich, Don't At Me on Outkick Indy Sports Ticket. Let me tell you, my man, you kept me company. Coming back from Chi-Town on Monday from Lafayette to Springfield, baby. Caught the whole thing.
Boy, you must have been bored to tears. Honest to God, if you caught my act.
Well, listen, that drive from Lafayette to Springfield isn't exactly exciting.
No, I made that drive. I made the drive a zillion times to Springfield from Bloomington when I was chasing the late, great Jason Collier to get him to come to Indiana 100 years ago. Man, I knew that. I knew Bloomington to Indy, obviously, but, man, I knew it well. I knew that. And then going to Ohio State watching my son. So, I know that road. I know that road.
Let me ask you about that time. And you know, Andrew being here, we struggle with deciding whether Ohio State really wants to be a basketball school and a football school at the same time. It's going to take a lot of money now. It's the investment. They've got history here, but you know how long it's been since they've been to a second weekend of a big dance or a Final Four, any of that. What is your belief in Ohio State wanting to invest in being a great basketball school?
I think it's a great question. When Andrew played, they were 15-3. They had two pros, Jayshawn Tate with the Rockets, and obviously Keita Bates-Diop was the Player of the Year. And I didn't know this. I didn't realize this. They had one sellout the entire year, and that was a fun team to watch. They had one sellout against the number one team in the country, Michigan State. And Michigan's no different though. Michigan, when Andrew played there, he's like, man, I can't believe how they've got to basically bribe students to come. And I'd go to games, and I was used to when Indiana went to Ohio State, at least when I was there with Coach Knight, it was packed. When Indiana went to Michigan, it was packed. I just assumed there was always packed. So now you're in a situation where obviously football, not only at Ohio State, but across the country, is taken over. I think it's hard. I think Ohio State is uniquely positioned, though, because you're the school, the program, Ohio State Athletics, in a town in Columbus where there is mega businesses, multi-billion-dollar businesses, and they got to put their money somewhere for philanthropic reasons, and Ohio State University and the athletic department is the place. I was talking to Richard Pitino when he was a coach at Minnesota about NIL, and you know what he said to me? He said, look, there's 6 professional sports teams in Minneapolis. You think anybody wants to get involved with our center? But Ohio State's different. I think Ohio State should be able to do it. I think Ohio State should have the resources to do it, but I also saw they lost $35 million, and now you're going to have to pay $22 million, in revenue sharing. So it's a tough thing. I think what is going to happen is sports are going to be dropped, and I hate to see it. But if all the schools that should be able to do it, I gave you a long answer. Ohio State should be able to do it because of the businesses and the interest, in that state, and particularly in Columbus.
Yeah, I get it. It's a really weird dynamic. I've been here for decades, and I've seen some great runs. But you're right. It's weird. It's like that shot. It's not like it's miles away from campus, but it just doesn't have that feel. And when they built that, it was that era of let's make it a mini United Center. Bigger is better. And then you got St. John sitting over there. But you can't jam all those luxury suites in there.
I would argue that it's the worst environment that I've been in for a big time school. And, because I never forget going back there with Sampson. I didn't coach there when I was at Indiana the first time. We had great games with Jimmy Jackson and, Jay Burson, those guys back in St. John's. But I remember going back there and we had a good team, and Ohio State was just okay. But I remember thinking, man, this is the worst environment. This is the easiest environment I think I've ever been in the Big Ten. Yeah. And I really do. And then when Andrew was there, it was good. They were students were coming out, but it's just not. It's just not what it should be relative to the size of the school and the interest in basketball. Because Ohio's got great high school coaches. They've got players everywhere. They have fantastic AAU programs in basketball. It should be better.
Yeah, I think you nailed it there. This team seems to get up for big games, and they play down to their competition as well. What does that tell you about that? That's not rare? I know there are a lot of teams that get up for the competition and play down to some, but this team seems to have it down pat, where they get lulled into games that maybe they shouldn't, and they get up for big games outside of the Auburn game, obviously. But where do you stand on that? Can you read into that for me?
Yeah, it is tough, and you fight that. But here's the thing that I look at. I look at it a little differently right now. Teams know who they are right now, and some teams are going away, and some teams are coming. And I'm looking at Ohio State thinking, all right, I know you got a big one tonight, obviously. I think they're coming. I do. I think they've been through a tough stretch. I always like teams. Look, the best teams are the 76 Hoosiers or Kentucky that goes through under. I get it. But no teams really do that. I like teams that have a little adversity early. And, guys were kind of coming in and out. And Bradshaw played a little better the other day. And he's been in and out, that kind of thing. And you come out stronger. And I think this time of year is always fascinating, man. It's cold in the Big Ten. It's dark. It's, and a lot of teams know, hey, man, we're not going to get to postseason right now. Now they get energized later when here comes conference tournaments and this is our last chance. And Ohio State, I'll give Jake great credit, man. They seem to be playing well. They seem to be the kind of team that isn't going away, that is getting better at this time of year. Everybody doesn't. There's a saying in coaching, not everybody bounces back. Sometimes you splat. And they seem like, and again, I think tonight's a big game, and I'll tell you why. To your point, obviously Penn State hasn't been great, but if you look at Penn State's scores, they played everybody down to the wire. Like every game is 2 to 5 points, that kind of thing. You win this one, now you're on a pretty good roll. You lose this one, and it's like, well, dang, we just lost Penn State. These are fascinating games. I think Ohio State's playing well. I think they'll win tonight. I think they're coming on at a time when not a lot of teams are. Oh, well, that's not true. A lot of teams are, and a lot of teams aren't. Hell, there's 350 teams. So yes, a lot of teams are, and a lot of teams aren't in major conferences because there's a lot of distractions to college kids these days.
Just last week, we saw Dan Hurley berating a ref again, and I think he dropped the line, "Don't turn your back on me. I'm the best coach in this blanking sport." You played for Knight, you coached under Knight, so you've seen the pinnacle of coaches getting on refs. So is this a big deal or is this no deal?
Well, it's no deal to me, but, Coach Knight used to do stuff like that all the time. I'm the blankety blank Olympic coach. Get over here, that kind of thing. And so, maybe I'm warped. I always said this, and when Coach Knight, we didn't have a relationship, Cole, at the end. I mean, basically we MF'd each other at ESPN because he did some stuff trying to get my job at ESPN. But When he passed, they asked me to do video. And I said what I said about Indiana, and I'll say the same thing about Danny and UConn. You know, Indiana, Bob Knight was our thing. You know, if you liked it, great. If you didn't like it, great. If you were in the media and you thought Knight was a jackass, great. If you're in the media and you love Knight, great. If you thought he was too hard on us, great. If you thought he was a bully, wonderful. But it was our thing. You know, we loved it. Players loved it. Managers loved it. You know, we signed up for it. Maybe we didn't know exactly what we signed up for, but it was our thing. We took pride in it. And that's how I look at UConn. You know, everybody, I know Billis and everybody, you know, no, it's bad behavior. Okay, great. That's wonderful. It's easy to say those things. I always felt like this as a head coach at Bowling Green. I didn't give a rat's ass what I had to do. I had to win. I'll never forget, we're playing at Toledo, rival, and I had a really good team. We win at Toledo. May have been the only time I ever won at Toledo, for crying out loud. It's about 1 a.m. I'm sitting at my kitchen table, happy as hell. Here comes my mom, holiest of women. She sits down, and I'm thinking, right? Oh, Daniel, you're the greatest, blah, blah. She says, Daniel, I must tell you. I go, yeah, Mom, you embarrassed me today. I go, what? She goes, I sat behind your bench. The language, the way you yelled at those kids, the way you yelled at those referees embarrassed me. And I looked at my mother, and I said, Mom, I ain't going to lie to you. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I don't give a F. It's the only time I ever said. I said, I don't give a F what you, my father, anybody thinks. I had to win that game, and I would have taken, I never forget, I told her, I would have taken off my clothes, flopped at the free throw line, buck ass naked, if it would have meant we won the game. And you know what she did? She looked at me, she goes, yeah, I knew it. You're just like your father. And she went up and went to bed.
Wait, she never sat behind the bench at Indiana when you were playing?
No. Oh, hell no. Knight was smart. Knight put the parents across the way about halfway up. He put them on the other side. Oh, hell yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
So, you know, as a coach, I know, you know, I know people say, well, you couldn't do that in the math department. Okay, I get it. I'm telling you, Cole, the way I was built, the misery of losing was so horrible. Like, I literally, my dad told me, if you ever lose, and I did, he goes, you're going to die. She goes, well, I ended up, I had to sleep on the floor. I couldn't sleep in a bed because I couldn't get out of bed in the morning if I did. So I would sleep on the floor. It made me, I mean, it was so awful, horrible that honestly, I don't, if Danny Hurley feels he's got to do that, do it, man. And I'm probably wrong, but that's the way I look at it.
We love you for it, man. Thanks for jumping on as usual. We'll be looking for the Bucks and Knits tonight and see what happens.
Yeah.
Thanks, my man. Have a great show today.
Thank you, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.
You got it. Dan Dakich on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. When we come back, we got a Buckeye Bulletin for you. And Ryan Day, competitive till the bitter end. And his better half will tell you about that. And what is the percentage chance that Jake Diebler's team is in March Madness? We'll give you the latest next. Rothman and Ice in the Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic. Oh, yes. Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Common Man and T-Bone here. Bone, did you know that the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus has over 30 TVs, 2 massive video walls? They even have recliners, a full-service bar and restaurant, a betting counter, and over 30 kiosks?
I did know that, but I also know that you can reserve a table right now at Hollywood Casino Columbus at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook and guarantee your spot and get some game day swag while you do it. Just visit hollywoodcolumbus.com/casino/sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
At Meijer, we work hard to bring more of the good life to your life so you can bring home more perfectly plump and flavorful produce picked for precise freshness, beautifully marbled beyond brag-worthy certified Angus beef, and more must-have money-saving M-Perks rewards. Because saving more on local favorites is good, but bringing home more of what you love in every trip, that's the good life. We do more to make life a good deal better at Meijer.
Celebrate women in sports. Join Ohio State women's basketball on Sunday, February 2nd for a special Women in Sports and Alumni Night. The Buckeyes take on Washington at the Shot. Be part of this great evening and get your tickets at ohiostatebuckeyes.com.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Have you ever told a friend
Oh, I'm fine.
when you really felt
Just so overwhelmed.
or sent a text
Can't sleep. Are you awake?
when you couldn't find the words to say?
I'm scared to be alone with my thoughts right now.
Then this is your sign to reach out to the 988 Lifeline for 24/7 free confidential support. You don't have to hide how you feel. Text, call, or chat anytime.
Is foot pain keeping you from living the life you love? Hi, it's Ron with the Good Feet store. Life is too short to be living with pain. When all four arches in your feet are supported, the results can be amazing. Go to goodfeet.com to make your appointment today.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Bobby Carpenter once sold workout equipment on QVC Canada. There's no joke here. That actually happened. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Rothman and Ice present Buckeye Bulletin.
Sponsored by Logan AC and Heat Services. Feeling the chill? Call the experts at Logan Services now for hot deals on Train furnaces, including 0% APR for 60 months.
All right, Buckeye Bulletin time. All right, I just pulled up the betting odds on Ohio State basketball making March Madness, making the tournament. And I also got a percentage from another betting site that has them even higher. And I'm a little bit surprised.
Even higher. Because you know what? Not to cut you off, but my first thought was I couldn't even tell you if that number's going to start with a minus or a plus. I can't tell.
It is a minus.
Okay.
And Ohio State, according to Bet365, to make the field of 68 is minus 115. It's so what minus 115 for people that aren't gamblers, it kind of implies about a better than a coin flip's chance of making it, about 55% or just to round it off.
Depending on the VIG, it might be a coin flip. It might be, the implication may be 50-50, but we're going to take a little bit extra.
Correct. Very, very, very good point. That they're going to charge you, they may think it's even money, but they're going to charge you more.
Just for using their book.
Just for making the bet.
Yeah.
Now, I did see another betting site that had them as an overwhelming favorite to make it at minus 250. That's about 70% or a little higher. So the question I have, and I've always had this before they expanded the league, I always thought if you went 500 in the Big Ten, you were like that was the benchmark. Back in the 90s, it was like win 20 and be 500 or better in your conference, and guess what? You're in. That was it.
Yeah.
And so the question becomes, are they going to win 20? They have 12. And I'm not saying 20 is the answer. It's not anymore. It's because it's quad. It's the quad wins. It's how big the wins are. And when you get blown out by Auburn by 40 some odd points, it doesn't matter anymore. As long like once you lose by 10 or more, it's the same crap. They don't crack you for losing by 50 or losing by 11. It's kind of in the same boat. So I'm looking at their schedule, and this is the game where they're not favored to win. They're a 3-point underdog tonight. At Illinois, they certainly won't be favored to win. And then Maryland at home will be another fight. At Nebraska, who knows? Washington at home, get that one. Michigan at home, you hope, but you don't know. Northwestern, competitive, but at home. At UCLA, at USC, Nebraska, at Indiana. Like, this team should be, they're 4-5 in the Big Ten. If I told you guys, so what do they have left, CB? 1, 2, 3, 4,
11.
5. 11 games?
Here, I'll give you something.
So if they go 6-5, they're 500.
So Ohio State is currently 10th in the conference. 18-team conference. If you divided them up 9-9, that means Ohio State is the best of the bottom half. They are 3-0 against teams in the bottom half of the conference right now. They are 1-5 against teams that are above them in the conference right now. So that kind of tells you that as exciting as the Purdue game was, where they're at right now is kind of who they are. So I think it's going to come down to conference tournament weekend. They're going to be pretty dependent on having a good performance themselves. You're traveling on the road to Penn State. That's a game. They're in the bottom half of the conference. You do not want to lose that game.
But that is a quad win game.
It is. And
stupid
quads. Here's the shame of it. You don't want to be a team that beat Texas on a neutral, beat Kentucky on a neutral, and won at Purdue and not make the dance. That would be awful because you have 3 quality wins. You really do.
Yeah, but you got a shot of having a below 500 record in the conference, which we've seen in recent years, below 500. In fact, I think it was a Buckeye team that went 8-12 in the conference in 2019 and still made it. So if those wins are deemed impressive enough.
That's why I'm saying it's not like the 90s. It's not hit 20 and be 500 in your conference and you're in. It's the quads. You can be sub 500 in your conference with really good quad wins, which they have. But the problem is you cannot lose to, well, you can lose to Penn State because it's on the road. Illinois on the road. But you better beat Nebraska, Washington, Northwestern, USC. They play Nebraska twice. They still have
They do. They play home and away.
All right, so beat them twice and go get revenge on Indiana at the end of the year, and they may be out of it anyway, you don't know. Or they may be on the bubble, and that may be the most important game in the history. So I don't know.
The Big Ten is an 8 or 9 bid league, and you're sitting in 10th. So that's kind of where my perspective is, just focusing only on the conference.
You or Lenardi saying that?
This is me.
Okay.
This is the Bartima's bracketology.
You say they're getting 8 in?
They usually get 8 or 9. Last year they only got 6.
I think they'll get 9, but go ahead.
The past handful of years. Okay. Well, they're still 10th. So that's where my focus is, just kind of honing in on the Big Ten itself. Maybe you're like the SEC. The SEC has 10 teams in the top 25 right now. So they're going to be like a 12-bid league. Who knows? So it may get ridiculous. But if we're just going on recent history and just assume it's either 8 or 9, you're currently on the outside looking in, and you have 5 more games against teams in the top half of the conference and 6 more games against teams in the bottom half.
Yeah, I'd bet them to make it. I'd bet them to make it right now.
The sad thing is,
I would take that minus 115, and I would bet them to make it. Maybe parlay that with something else. I asked Dakich, is Ohio State of basketball? Are they going to invest? He said it's a really tough question. I said 2 years ago on this program, and I think CB remembers it. I said, I wonder if in the future, when we get into start paying players, some schools will go cheaper on coaches and spend on players. Now, I think that's counterintuitive not to do both. But I think that sometimes when you hand an up-and-coming coach who doesn't cost you $7-8 million a year, but you spend money on the players and you trust him as a coach, it's kind of like this is going to be the Diebler test because they paid Holtman a lot more, and he couldn't get them going. He couldn't do it. So in this era of paying players, will Ohio State, when they can pay athletes the maximum amount allowed when they say they'll be fully committed, will they do that? And could it change their strategy? I don't know. They're 30 million in the hole this athletic department year, they said, that report from the Dispatch.
37?
30 mil in the red.
Something.
Well, and so if that's the case, do you trust them to take all that money and spend it on basketball too? It's going to be very difficult. And I think just making the tournament, unfortunately now in this town, is some sort of accomplishment. Well, and then it turns into, can you make to the second weekend, which they haven't done in over a decade or whatever it's been? Anyway, they are favored. The point is they're favored to make it right now. It should be a fun little ride here towards the end. So Ryan Day and his wife, Nina, CB, were on the Kelly Clarkson television show.
Yes, sir, the media tour.
And I love, first of all, the combination of the husband, wife, and going, this you'll get a little more out of it because then she can talk about him. And she did talk about the competitive side of her husband.
We were on the same T-ball team when we were 6 years old, and I was in right field picking dandelions, and he told me to get focused, and I thought, this kid's crazy.
That's awesome. The fact that she remembers that and how good that is very cool. I'm incredibly happy for their family. Certainly, I keep putting the disclaimer on it that he knew what he signed up for. He knew who passed him the torch, Urban Meyer. He knew he was getting 7-0 against Michigan. He knew all of that. But to have this return on investment at the end here in the first expanded playoff to 12 is pretty cool. And I'm happy for him that he's getting to experience all this, the Tonight Show and TV shows and calling into Rothman and Ice. Oh, yeah, we got to check that quota. All right, that is today's Buckeye Bulletin. Top of the hour Sports Center update here. And we will do a deep dive into one coach suggesting they rename the most famous trophy in the world. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
We test marketed naming the show A Guy and His Butlers.
Oh, that is very touching.
But we thought Bishop and Friends had a better ring to it.
Weekday mornings at 9.
The Fan.
It's a different world today than it was 30 years ago when I started Care Heating and Cooling. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, 30 years ago, you were the first to warn of companies using service technicians as salespeople, of abusing the trust that a service technician has. With the big conglomerates now buying companies all over Central Ohio, this has become the normal business model.
It's all about greed. The conglomerates know they can make a lot more money by incentivizing their technicians to sell furnaces instead of fixing them. They train their techs to take advantage of a customer when they are the most vulnerable.
Dad, that is not how we were taught. In 2024, Care Heating and Cooling was awarded a BBB Torch Award for ethics and was named the Lennox Partner of the Year. You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
I'm sure you've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelfie?
Just send them a text.
Text CORE to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic, but for 80 to 90% less and 100% online. Don't wait. Text CORE to 200-300 right now. For a link to your exclusive offer, text CORE to 200-300. That's CORE to 200-300. CORE to 200-300.
Something amazing is happening here. Scientists are using AI to study how whales talk to each other. CDW experts can give researchers the power to process complex data with HP workstations advanced by AMD Ryzen Threadripper Pro processors. With easier handling of AI workloads, your organization can bring powerful insights to the surface. Make amazing happen. HP, AMD, and CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/HPAMD.
A Progressive Home and Auto Bundle can protect you round the clock, but we can't protect you from those painful moments in sports.
Why would we trade our best player?
Well, at least you got to watch him in person when he was here.
I named my only son after him.
So you'll always remember his name.
Yeah, but what do I do with this jersey?
Luckily, the company has a great return policy.
I wore it for 6 seasons.
Well, at least your home and auto are protected with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good afternoon. I'm Matt Andrews. Tonight, the Jackets are in Vegas, starting a 4-game road trip. A playoff wild card spot on the line for Columbus here as they come down the stretch. That game tonight will start at 10. Dean Evison on what he's looking forward to on this road trip.
Just consistency, as we talked about before. You know, we've spoken about the road record and all that. It's still not great, right? We've got to be better. We've got to play better out there. I think we're confident in how we're playing the game, regardless of where we're playing right now. So, but we need to apply it on a consistent basis, starting tomorrow night.
Start a back-to-back to play in Utah tomorrow. Buckeye basketball at State College tonight. 5:45 airtime. Paul, Skip, and Ron. We'll have it right here on The Fan. Breaking sports news on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Most shows just skim the surface, but Rothman and I feel like the biggest story of the day deserves a closer look. It's time for a deeper dive.
Sponsored by Low T Center. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
All right, back at it. Final hour of the program. We'll have Sam Bruchhaus, Sumer Sports on the NFL Senior Bowl and the draft coming up at 2:30. My man Cole Bartemus in for the Iceman today. And as we keep kind of moving through this day, I saw this funny clip with Belichick and Jim Gray, and it was Belichick basically being very humble. And remember all the debates fans had, and even we had, on when Tom Brady split from New England. Oh, who is it, Bill or Tom? What's the secret sauce?
Yeah.
Well, of course it's the quarterback. If he's the best that ever laced him up, it doesn't mean that the coach didn't have a lot to do with it. Of course he did, in game planning and the culture and all that, the Patriot way, everything that they got out of that era. Like, you start talking about these combinations of Chuck Nolan, Terry Bradshaw, and Andy Reid, now Patrick Mahomes, and Belichick and Brady. Of course you're going to have a combination, but no one in their right mind would ever pick the coach over the player. No one should do that. It doesn't make any sense. The coach can only do so much to win the game. And Belichick kind of leaned into that with Jim Gray, and I think he kind of took this as an opportunity to give praise to all the guys that played for him in this interview. But it's the very end of the interview that I found interesting, and then we'll comment from there.
It's impossible. You can't win without good players. You know, I found out when I had Taylor and Banks and Harry Carson, Pepper Johnson, Jim Burt, Everson Walls, all those guys of the Giants. And same thing, you know, when we got good at Cleveland and then at New England. I mean, it's Brady, it's McGinnis, it's Vrabel, it's Bruschi, it's Corey Dillon, it's Randy Moss, Troy Brown, Lawyer Malloy, Ty Law, Rodney Harrison. Those are the guys that won the games. Man, I didn't make any tackles. I didn't make any kicks. That was Vinatieri that made that kick in 4 inches of snow. You got to have good players. And as a coach, you want to give your players a chance to win. You want to put them in a position where if they go out there and play well, they'll have a chance to win. That's what Coach Parcells taught me, is there's always a way to win. You just got to figure out what it is, and you have to give the players a chance.
They don't name it the Star Trophy. It's named the Lombardi Trophy.
Maybe they should name it the Brady Trophy. He won 7 of them.
It's a little too much for me. I think he's almost being humble to a fault, because I really have no clue whether Brady would have 7 if he didn't go there. And I'm not taking anything for Brady. He's great. but this is a team game. He was famously drafted in the 6th round, 199 overall. He's had one of the greatest careers in the history, if not the greatest, when you consider what he was expected to be and what he became.
I agree.
There's that chasm is unbelievable. But you're telling me that if he had gone to another team and coach, he'd have 7? Of course he wouldn't.
No.
He wouldn't. And there are other times where, when he got Moss was coming off the worst year of his career. He was 30 years old. They sent the Raiders a 4th-round pick to get him. There were players that were tough for him to coach. Corey Dillon was a headache. He wanted to be traded. Like, he's being too humble. And so, which is cool for him. That's great. I'm glad he's giving those guys the praise. He's acting like he was just the coach. But you could go through every one of his players, and he talked about him. You can't tell me that every single one of those guys were easy to coach.
Oh, no way.
Like, you had to have tapped into something. When you start looking at everybody that he coached and guys where they gave him guys that were 5th, 6th round picks, and he turned them into bona fide starters in the NFL. Now, maybe they have the talent. You have to have a baseline of talent. That's obvious. But it's a very interesting ride. I mean, Orlando Brown, CB's boy, one of the Cleveland Browns that was on that team. He was an undrafted rookie on a very good Cleveland team in 94. And he was massive, but he got temporarily blinded. I don't know if you guys remember this story. I was covering this story in 1999, and he was temporarily blinded when he was hit in the eye by a penalty flag. And he wound up being a very, very good player. He's dealt with a lot more than he's giving himself credit for. The other part of this, and this is why you don't change the name.
Oh, no, you can't do that.
You don't change the name.
Then you can just do that forever.
Yes. And a little history lesson, Lombardi died of cancer. He had won the first 2 Super Bowls. They changed the name from the World Championship of Football to the Lombardi Trophy after he had passed in his 50s. And that's the difference, is that they named it after, Super Bowl V was maybe the first time it was the Lombardi. And so it had much more sentimental value. And I would think a guy like Belichick would have that history in his mind before he just threw out, name it the Brady.
I thought that was kind of tongue-in-cheek, though. I thought that was kind of just Jim Gray teed him up with that, and they were having a laugh about it. Jim Gray saying...
They should have pressed him on it.
I guess.
No, I'm kidding.
But isn't it in the nature of quarterbacks and coaches, and just with their history of media availabilities, to deflect? Like, if there's ever something wrong, it's my fault. If there's ever something good, it's everybody else's success.
The right ones do that.
Yeah, it's just...
But it's not easy, because sometimes they have to, most of the time, probably have to fall on the sword for certain things.
Yeah, but I know that the reputation of both of those guys, Belichick and Brady, was that they didn't get along, but it kind of seems like they're trying to mend those fences a little bit. Belichick did the roast of Brady, and they were having a good time with that. So I think this is just him trying to praise Brady, trying to be nice. I don't think he actually meant that, but I totally agree with you that because if we change the award, that implies that there was something wrong with the award's previous name, and then, now we got to correct this.
I think what it
now it's got to be Brady.
I think what it implies is the surface, is the results are the only thing that matter. Is that he has 7, it makes sense. He's got the most, so rename it after him. I think it just to me it just reduces it to. It kind of eliminates the history that.
Yeah.
It's all about wins, and he's the best, and so you should name it after him. Maybe eventually they will. I don't know. I think what you talked about, which is that why they didn't like each other, is Bill's affinity for moving on before guys were toast. And when he drafted Garoppolo, Brady took that as a personal deal.
And I would too.
It was very much like Aaron Rodgers took the Jordan Love drafting. These teams have to try to get ahead of situations. You can speak to this. Guess who didn't do it? The Steelers. They didn't get ahead of Ben being at the end. You guys didn't play that same game the Packers played, or like where you said, we've got to find the next before we fall off a cliff offensively.
Yeah, not in any sort of serious capacity. I mean, Mason Rudolph was a third-round pick, so that one was kind of like, oh, is Ben going to mentor the young guy? Something like that. But we never really showed any indication of going all in on that. And now we're in a position where we're drafting 21st, and will there even be a good quarterback available at that point? So we probably can't. So, yeah, I totally get that. And Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm seeing, just as a refresher, second-round pick. We knew that back in 2014. And so you draft Jimmy Garoppolo, and if I'm not mistaken, 2014 was the year where they won the Super Bowl against the Seahawks, where they didn't give it to Marshawn on the goal line. And so sometimes...
It was his age and the contract. It was Tom. It was all that. It was Belichick always wanting to be early at the quarterback position, then late.
And I think that's a good idea, but sometimes you're going to be incorrect. And when you draft Jimmy Garoppolo, now fortunately Tom Brady still had a contract. It's not like he
played
pushed him all the way.
seasons.
It's not like you push him all the way to free agency.
Yeah, I think that was 6 more seasons after the Garoppolo draft.
Yeah, because the COVID year was the Buccaneers championship in his first year in Tampa.
Yeah, I mean, and then they traded Garoppolo, and they got rid of him.
So Brady outlasted him. So, it worked out. But
I think that was where the stuff you talked about, which was, when Belichick acknowledged that Tom was 36, I'd have to go back and look, and not knowing whether this was going to be a long run, and they drafted Garoppolo, he took it personally, and I think that's where it came from. And then, everything else that followed with, and then the Deflategate stuff. We aired that stuff when Belichick indirectly hung him out to dry. That's a better question for Tom.
Yeah. And so, look, I mean, you and I don't know what it's like to be professional athletes, but I would envision that when you're in it, you're probably thinking about just what's in front of you right here, right now. Like, as we just talked about with Tee Higgins. Tee Higgins probably thinks he's the best receiver in the National Football League, even though he's not the best receiver on his team, and probably wants all the money in the world. But once you're removed from it and you're kind of viewing everything in a totality perspective, I'm sure that those two view themselves as, hey, we were both better for it. And
by the way, do you remember everything that Belichick had to go through with Brady, his private personal trainer, and he needs access to the stadium? Yes, exactly. By the way, that guy even had his own office.
Yeah,
like this was weird
because he wasn't a team employee.
It was like a Brady annex within their building.
Flying with the team too, something like that?
I don't know. I know that Belichick yanked his privileges.
Yeah, and that Brady didn't like that.
Of course. And that was the break. I think that was the breaking point, actually, was the Guerrero.
But once you're removed from it and you kind of just view your career as everything that it was entirely and not just every little thing that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, I can see why those two would be like, yeah, like we like each other because we helped each other. And at the end of the day, we were pretty successful, and it's pretty cool that we got to experience all that together.
And then it was like a vicious triangle a little bit that Kraft said to him, you trade Garoppolo. And Belichick didn't want to.
Yeah.
And so that created... So now you're right. Now that it's all over and they can look back and share and bask in the success, and now Belichick's in college and Brady's out of the game, now they can soften the whole journey.
Because there's no risk. Because at the time, there's risk in making the wrong decision, and so we got clashing decision makers, each wanting to do different things, and everybody has a different belief of how the future is going to play out. There is no future anymore. So all you have is to look at the past, and the past was pretty successful.
No doubt. And that's what they're going to live on. And that's why he can throw out that quip of rename the Lombardi after Brady. He's got 7 of them. No thanks.
I bet you Belichick doesn't even believe that.
We'll come back. Pre-snap reads. The Browns, should they be in on a certain quarterback? We'll talk about it next. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
We know everything about you. We know you love the Buckeyes. We know you love the Jackets. We know you're wearing a red shirt. Just freak the hell out of someone. The Fan.
At Planet Fitness, we're declaring it. This is the year of getting stronger. And future stronger you can get started now by saving $28 or more when you join today. You in? We have all the best-in-class equipment you could ever need to keep stepping it up. And you can work out your way on your time at any convenient location near you. Most open 24 hours. So let's do this. Join Planet Fitness today and save $28 or more. Just $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends January 31st. See Home Club for details.
Hey, can we talk? It's a new year and I need to move on. We had a great run, but you're old now. So, I'm trading you in at Great Lakes Kia.
And new Kias are under $5 a day.
That's less than lunch.
Lease new Kia K4, K5, and Sorrentos. All three under $5 a day. At Great Lakes Kia.
That's only $149 a month for 24 months.
Yes, new 25 Kia K5 LXS, K4 LXS, and Sorrento LX. Standard with third row seating. All three under $5 a day.
That Kia Sorrento is hot.
And we've got 0% financing.
But what if I'm not good enough for credit?
If you've got a job, you ride.
Under $5 a day.
Great cars, great people, Great Lakes Kia. GreatLakesKia.com. Want to take it for a test drive?
Oh, he needs to meet my parents first. To qualified buyers, visit GreatLakesKia.com for details.
When was the last time you had your plumbing inspected? Small issues such as tiny leaks or old water heaters can quickly turn into big problems if they're not caught early. Take action with Logan Services and schedule a free winter plumbing safety inspection to help keep your home running smoothly. Schedule your free inspection now and experience the fast, friendly service you've come to expect from Logan Services.
I'm Rick Reichert. Reichert Ford just wrapped up one of our biggest sales years in our history. So we're celebrating with the January kickoff sales event. And we're dealing. Lease a new 2024 hybrid F-150 for just $599 a month for 36 months. 0 down. Or lease your 2024 Bronco Sport for just $399 a month for 36 months. Also, 0 down. One of the largest Ford inventories in America. Over 1,000 new Fords on the ground and on the way. And it's all on sale. Plus, don't miss our 0 down programs. Available now. No other dealer in Columbus, in Ohio, or the entire country is dealing like this, period. So let's make 2025 another great year. Start with Reichert Ford's January kickoff sales event at the largest volume Ford dealer in Ohio at Route 33 and Hamilton Road, 2 minutes off 270, and at ReichertFord.com. Based on 2024 Ford report for total new retail sales, Cincinnati region. Leases on approved credit. No security deposit required. Ends 2-3. Come in now.
Get the right car at Reichert.
We're dealing.
Here at The Fan, we give you 14 hours of live and local programming every day. We care about you. We live and work in your community. Except Bo Bishop. He won't tell us where the hell he is. Your live and local station. Except Bo. The Fan.
Have you ever told a friend?
Oh, I'm fine.
When you really felt?
Just so overwhelmed.
Or sent a text?
Can't sleep. Are you awake?
When you couldn't find the words to say?
I'm scared to be alone with my thoughts right now.
Then this is your sign to reach out to the 988 Lifeline for 24/7 free confidential support. You don't have to hide how you feel. Text, call, or chat anytime.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Looking at a dry day today during the daylight hours, but rain is on the way as we head into the evening. Today we're looking at a high of 48. Rain starts after sunset tonight. Tonight's low will be around 40. Showers on your Friday with a high of 58. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365, the official online sports book of Rothman and Ice. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Rothman and Ice present Pre-Snap Leads.
Sponsored by Newman Roofing. Call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF. That's 614-NEW-ROOF. Or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
All right, a little Bet365 time. At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. They've launched their new sign-up offer. Bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. So whether your bet wins or loses, customers will receive bonus bets after signing up at Bet365. A little parlay, a little conservative parlay for the Bucks tonight. I will go Ohio. I'll tease Ohio State up. They're a 3-point dog. I'll be safe and tease them up to plus 6.5. and I'll tease the over-under down and bet it over 142.5. And that'll get me even money. So Bucks plus 6.5, over 142.5. If you want to spin the roulette wheel of first goal for Jackets and Vegas, I think Dorofeyev for Vegas would probably be the guy that I put my money on, 10-1. I do think I'd sprinkle on Fantilli at 16-1. And potentially, and this happens a lot on the show, and he's had some open twines, he just hasn't hit them. Our boy Sieves, who came on, which is so unlikely, but you get him at 80-1. And so I'll do that as well. But more of my money, more units on Buckeyes plus 6.5, over 142.5. What about you?
We spoke earlier in the show about Ohio State's likelihood of making the tournament. We discussed that minus 115. And as much as I don't think they deserve it, at the end of the day, Rothman, 68 teams are going to make it. And at some point,
they plan on being one of them.
The resumes are going to get pretty thin, and you're going to be taking teams just because you have space to fill. And it kind of seems like Ohio State may actually be trending in that direction. So despite the fact that I was actually pretty negative about them, I kind of think they're going to make it. Because some of these last four in teams that the tournament's taken in recent years, like 12, 13, 14 loss teams, some teams with 500 records in the conference, some a little bit below 500 in the conference, it's going to be, I think, dependent on what happens in the conference tournaments. I think you're going to have at least one win, probably more. But if you get ousted on Thursday, I think that's a problem. I think
it depends how the rest of this regular season goes.
Yeah.
If they win, if they go 8-3, maybe they can lose early.
Fair.
Yeah.
I'm kind of, and we're just assuming that where they are now is kind of where they'll end up, which will be like smack dab in the middle of the conference. Mm-hmm. But unless someone steals a bid, unless a one-bid league turns into a two-bid league because the wrong team wins the conference tournament, I think that could have you on the outside looking in. But honest to goodness, it wouldn't be entirely flagrant if you had this Buckeye team with a middle-of-the-road sort of deal in the Big Ten actually make the tournament, because it's kind of been that way.
Last I checked, you're not putting your annual salary on this.
No.
So
it's just a little minus 150.
I think it's okay to just err on the side that they could go 6-5 on the way out and win a game at the Big Ten, and then you're in. I think that would be the way to go. Super Bowl MVP odds, did those interest you?
Yes, they did. So I committed before the season, no matter what, that I was going to pick the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl because they have made me look like a fool one too many times. However, I'm actually following what I'm seeing with my eyes, which I refuse to do. But if I'm actually following what I'm seeing with my eyes, the Eagles look like a better football team than me. They've been playing some of their best ball. You know, the Rams game got close at the end, but I'm kind of curious. And if it's the Eagles, I think it's going to be Saquon, so I'm curious as to where he is MVP-wise with the odds.
All right, he's plus 250. So I think there are a couple ways to look at this. If you're going to pick a Chief to win the MVP, it's either going to be Mahomes or a guy that scores multiple touchdowns. And the only guy that I could see that happening for is maybe Worthy, the way they'll use him at the goal line, the way they like that motion and then retreat and all that, or he gets an end around. Something happens with the rushing and receiving that he combines for something big in the Super Bowl. And that if Mahomes doesn't throw for 300, then maybe Worthy could get it if he scores 2 touchdowns rushing and receiving. As far as the Eagles go, that Jalen Hurts is plus 350. So he's even a little higher. But I actually think here's the one that you could just sprinkle on a tiny bit.
All right.
If somehow Jalen Carter blows up that offensive line for the Chiefs and has 3.5, 4 sacks, and they win the game, but they win in a lower scoring game in the 20s, and Saquon doesn't rush for 150, and Jalen doesn't have 250 yards passing, but the defense comes up big, and Jalen Carter's the reason, he's 60-1. Trust me, it's 60-1 for a reason.
Yeah.
But if that were to happen, the value on that is amazing. I really don't expect A.J. Brown. I don't think Kareem Hunt's going to score enough. You know, I always have him for an anytime touchdown.
Could you make the same argument about Chris Jones on the other side?
Probably not, because if they win, it's going to probably go to Patrick. Unless they win you're saying if the identical scenario, low scoring, Mahomes doesn't have a great game, but Jones wrecks.
So I guess what you're saying is that Mahomes is much more likely to have a great game and a Chiefs victory than Jalen Hurts is, even if the Eagles win.
I don't want to try to find somebody on the Chiefs outside of Mahomes. I think I got a much better shot at taking more of a value pick on the Eagles because they're more of a crapshoot on who could be the star.
I kind of feel like Saquon plus 250 is kind of a money line bet.
It's not bad.
I'm not saying that Hurts can't. I'm not saying A.J. Brown can't. I love A.J. Brown. I think he's a great receiver, but they have two really good receivers.
He caught that one pass.
The yards are going to be split.
Dropped right in his hands.
I love Jalen Carter, and I think it's kind of foolish now to scratch guys off your draft board because of personality issues or off the field issues. If they're going to play, they're probably going to be pretty good.
Dude, those are case by case. You don't know which one's going to go sideways and which one isn't.
I know, so draft him anyway.
Well, they usually do.
Jalen Carter.
No, they usually do.
Jeffrey Simmons.
More character issue guys are drafted than not.
Yeah, but I'm saying they still slide a little bit.
It could slide.
So
but they're all going to get a chance.
And Jalen Carter's really good. I'm not saying that's impossible. I totally recognize that. But mentally, I'm kind of just in the space right now. Saquon Barkley is basically an Eagles money line bet.
All right, plus 250 on that. All right, whatever the moment, whatever the sport, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app today. You got to be 21 or older. Must be present in Ohio. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. Offer subject to meeting qualifying criteria.
And may the odds be ever in your favor.
All right. The NFL draft is going to be big for many reasons, and one of it is because you have an NFL legend who has a son that could be the first quarterback, or at least top two. Browns have the second overall pick. They have a need, so this isn't want or need. This isn't a luxury pick. This is if we think that quarterback's massive, we're taking him at 2, but it's got to be their guy. So it's interesting to me if they really think it's Shedeur, they should get him. They should be able to get him. Unless Tennessee decides that, because all we've heard about is Cam Ward or even better, a non-quarterback going to Tennessee early. But we have a clip from Andrew Hawkins who thinks that young Sanders should be the guy.
What do you think about the idea of Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland? I like it. I like Shedeur Sanders as a talent. I think, he has the arm strength. He has the feel for the game. He's a guy that is used to building programs. You saw what he did at Jackson State. He went to Colorado with, I think they were a 1-win team when he in prime time got there. So that bodes well. Also, he's not a stranger to the spotlight, right? You're a top round pick. And a lot of times when you are a top quarterback drafted, sometimes they're blinded by the spotlight and it becomes too much pressure. This is a guy that doesn't rattle to pressure. He's the son of the best athlete in the history of the world. So all those things point to a quarterback that feels like he's primed, no pun intended, for the moment. The question becomes, is that a destination that he wants to be at, that Prime wants to be at? Because also, if you're a Browns fan or a part of this organization, you want a quarterback who not only wants to be there, they feel like they're the catalyst to turn this into a winning program. That's what I want from my quarterback.
It's a nice thought. I think he's a really good decision maker. He's talented. I think he's driven to succeed.
And if you read the moves that the Browns have made, it might start to point you in this direction. I say that because newly promoted quarterback coach Bill Musgrave has quite an extensive relationship and history with Deion. And Deion even said in the past one of his favorite Super Bowl moments involved Musgrave filling in with the 49ers.
I like it. I'm not opposed to it. I mean, I could be talked into trading out of it, but this league is about finding the next great quarterback, or at least a very competent one. And I have a lot of confidence that he would align with Tommy Rees and he would align with Cleveland. And how many times are you going to be picking 2? It's just one of those things where it's tough to turn down.
And you didn't trade up to 2. You're there because you were terrible. So if you think that Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward, for that matter, either or, you think they project well, you got to take them.
We'll come back with Sam Bruchhaus, Sumer Sports, the NFL. He does analyze the draft and all these guys. We'll ask him, is he truly a perfect fit in the orange and fudge? Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
1-877 Cars for Kids.
today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Hey, it's Anthony. I got to tell you, when you don't have the support you need, it affects everything. Feet, knees, hips, back, even your mood. I finally went to the Good Feet store, and once I was personally fitted for my arch supports, I felt a ton better. I will never wear another pair of shoes again without sliding in my personally fit Good Feet arch supports. That's because they help me eliminate my foot pain. It's such a good feeling knowing that I can be on my feet and not worrying about I'm going to wake up with low back pain or feel a weakness somewhere. I trust the Good Feet store because for more than 30 years, they've helped thousands of people just like me get back to feeling comfort on a daily basis. They take pleasure in that. And it's their personal 3-step system designed to support, balance, and strengthen your feet that guides them into their ideal position. I'm the proof. I wear them every day, even when I'm biking at the gym. So go in, take the free test walk at the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway and on Stringtown Road in Grove City or goodfeet.com.
I'm an old school Joe, and my philosophy is real simple and effective. It's not what you win or lose, it's what you save. And betting reduced juice at Prime Sports Ohio is the way to save money on every single bet. Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Use promo code JUSTSPORTS. Get a welcome bonus up to $100. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hitting a hole in one into your ear hole. Ew. This is Rothman and Ice.
All right, Browns have their eyes on the top of the draft, possibly the top quarterback in the draft. We shall see. Our friend, Sam Bruchhaus, Sumer Sports, with us now on the Bryan Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Sam, welcome back.
Thank y'all for having me. Excited to talk some ball.
Yeah, let's get your take on Shedeur Sanders and where you think he is as far as, a guaranteed franchise-type quarterback, what they'd be getting him, the skill set, the decision-making, all of that. You get the certainly the lineage with prime time, but if the Browns are sitting there at 2 and he's there, would you be opposed to them taking a shot on Shedeur?
I would not be opposed, and we at Sumer Sports were over at the Shrine Bowl, and reports out of the Shrine Bowl are that several of the top teams told Shedeur that he didn't really need to practice, that they were considering taking him. So it's definitely in the cards. Here's the pros and cons about Shedeur. The pros, he is very accurate at all 3 levels. That shows up not only in his completion percentage, but also in our advanced stats that we have over here at Sumer Sports using AI. His completion percentage over expected is also very good. The con, he takes a lot of sacks, a lot of negative plays, and that is something that really hurt the Browns this year, both when Deshaun Watson, Jameis Winston, and the other quarterbacks were playing. That's the pros and the cons. I think if you can limit those negative plays as he develops under someone like Kevin Stefanski, he can end up being a pretty good quarterback.
How wide is the gap between Shedeur and Cam Ward?
I think it's pretty thin. And the reason, frankly, is this isn't the same quarterback class that it was last year. Last year we had about 5-6 guys that we thought were starting caliber year one. We ended up getting almost all of them starting in the first round outside of J.J. McCarthy, who was injured. And this year, there's just a little bit more uncertainty. I think the big difference right now is that Cam Ward was just more productive this year, and he's been more productive across levels. We've seen him do it all over the place. Shedeur has also been very productive, but he did have that losing season last year, and he has always been tagged in with Travis Hunter, one of the best players in this draft.
All right, so let's go with the third scenario, which would be the Tennessee decides we're taking Abdul Carter. We're going to go non-quarterback and keep trying to take a swing with Levis, and the Browns have their pick at quarterback. Would they want to go Cam or Shedeur?
If you were asking me and I was the general manager of the Browns, I would pick Cam Ward there. I think they should stick with quarterback, and I think Cam Ward has a little bit of a better profile when it comes to limiting negative plays and making the extra plays as well. I'm a little worried about Shedeur's athleticism. I don't think he's going to be a natural runner at the next level, and I think Cam Ward may be able to overcome some of those athletic stuff that Shedeur may not have. That's why I'd go with Cam Ward.
All right, there's two more scenarios, right, that are in play here, and that's what if they feel like this quarterback draft is more style than substance, and they still want to make that pick at 2, and maybe they take Abdul Carter. Now you have the Garrett Carter bookends, or you decide that you want to dangle that number 2 pick out there and let somebody else come up and grab the quarterback, and they could still kind of get this rebuild going a little faster. What about those two scenarios?
I think they're interesting scenarios. Also, Travis Hunter's another guy. I know Denzel Ward is out there, and Jerry Jeudy look good. I think he'd be a good fit for the Browns just because he's a generational level player. In my book, I have Hunter as the top of my big board currently. I think Abdul Carter is a good player, but I think Travis Hunter is a generational prospect and a generational college player as well. I think that could be an option. If they're looking for a trade, I'd be looking at a team like the Jets, who has a pretty good roster, was favored in a lot of their games this year, have an aggressive head coach in Aaron Glenn coming in. Quarterback position may be a question mark depending on what Aaron Rodgers decides to do after he meets with the new front office and the new head coach. I wouldn't be shocked if a team like the Jets or someone else who is looking for a quarterback would be angling to trade up to get in the range for Shedeur or for Cam Ward.
What is Will Howard's ceiling in this draft?
I think Will Howard is probably going to be a day 2, day 3 level pick. I've spent the Senior Bowl watching all of these quarterbacks, however, including guys that are trying to be the quarterback 3 or quarterback 4, Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe. No one has really been able to separate themselves, except to a certain extent. Dylan Gabriel had a pretty good day 1 of the Senior Bowl. I think he fits into that class of maybe older guys who the tape is out on them, and they were able to be successful this year. Obviously, Will Howard is now a national champion. I think he sits in that kind of range, and it'll be it very much depends on how the teams at the top approach Shedeur Sanders and approach Cam Ward, because if they start falling, I think it could honestly move the quarterbacks up a little bit as teams start to be interested in them, or perhaps move them down into more of the day 3 range.
At the beginning of the season, a lot of people thought really highly of Quinn Ewers, and then as each week gone by, it kind of seems like everyone was like, we don't really know where we stand with him. Where are we now with where he will fall in this draft?
He's a very interesting prospect because he was immensely productive, and he was on an immensely good team for 2 years. 2 playoff appearances, went deep in the playoffs both times. However, the question mark for him is, can he exist outside of an environment with Steve Sarkisian? And Steve Sarkisian was hitting what us draft analysts and what us film analysts call the easy button quite a bit. A lot of play action, a lot of motion, and a lot of misdirection. I think that propped Quinn Ewers up. I personally don't love him, even in the day 2 range, but it is possible that someone could bank on his production and the idea that he ran a pro-style system. Remember, Steve Sarkisian was the offensive coordinator in Atlanta for a year or 2 out there and has worked in the NFL quite a bit. I think people could bank on him being a safe bet, primarily because he also avoids negative plays.
Quinn Ewers' effect here. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Where do you have him ranked? And, certainly he showed up against Ohio State the best he could. But it's interesting to me. I thought that maybe he would hang out a little longer and try to develop a little bit and try to move up the board.
Yeah, this board is very interesting this year. What we've kind of found out, and it affects all these players, right, is there's no premier guy. I mean, Abdul Carter is one of the guys that was primo. People are considering him primo, but he's only played edge rusher 1 year. And so I think there's going to be this subset of guys, of which he's one of, that are receiving grades where they could push up into the next round, particularly based on maybe their combine performance or their pro day performance. And I think that's kind of the class that'll be interesting to watch moving forward.
Is Tetairoa McMillan the best receiver in the draft? If not, who else is?
It's really interesting. I think it's very probable that Travis Hunter may be the best wide receiver in the draft, but Tet definitely has that kind of big wide receiver body that people like to see, and that fans of the Cincinnati Bengals have really loved watching with Tee Higgins. I think that's kind of how he projects to the next level. I'm a little worried about his route running. He's not excellent in it in our AI metrics. And as a result, I think we may see him fall kind of more into the 10 to 15 range per se. But there are a lot of other good wide receivers. Here at the Senior Bowl and the Shrine Bowl, we've seen some mid-range guys like Ricky White, for example. Tez Johnson, who's a little bit undersized, but is a great separator. We've seen him improve his stock. It'll be interesting to see, but I think it's pretty safe to say that Tet is the top, true wide receiver if we're excluding Travis Hunter in this draft.
All right, I'll end on this. And, we have a lot of fun with the quarterbacks because I think you're right. This is such a QB carousel. We don't know which one's going to be the one or whether these mid-tier guys are going to work out. But, we got a glimpse of Kyle Mccord here, obviously at Ohio State, had the big moment against Notre Dame, and then goes to Syracuse and lights it up for most of the season, has a great year. And so, Cole asked you about Will Howard. Would you take Will Howard over Kyle Mccord or the reverse?
This may be a little controversial up there in Columbus, but, man, I love Kyle McCord, and I've loved him since game one this year. Looking at him in person in the Shrine Bowl, you don't want that to be too much of your evaluation, especially when we do have analytics. And analytically, he's one of the better quarterbacks in this draft. He's just not really a guy who's going to make plays with his legs, which is kind of the major ding on him right now. But McCord just looked like a different quarterback than anyone I saw at the Shrine Bowl or at the Senior Bowl. And talking with some of the lead personnel and some of the media, they really think that his stock could rise. Right now, I would pick McCord over Howard if I was in need of a mid to late round quarterback.
Great breakdown from our friend Sam Bruchhaus, Sumer Sports. Check it out, and we'll be talking to you very soon again, Sam. Thank you, bud.
Thank you very much.
Sam was on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. When we come back, we'll wrap it up with Tell the Truth, Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
We're the highest-rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Regenerative treatments for joint pain are creating lots of excitement in the orthopedic community. QC Kinetics Medical Director Dr. Ray Tessner recalls a recent conversation with one of the country's most acclaimed orthopedic doctors.
He said, when you and I are young, the arthroscope was a quantum leap in treating orthopedic problems. I think regenerative medicine is the new arthroscope.
Surgery is no longer the go-to solution for chronic joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulder, or back. QC Kinetics is leading the next quantum leap. All-natural regenerative treatments that provide relief and mobility.
I think one of the tenets of being a good physician is the old saying of do no harm. That's what I enjoy about this form of treatment is there's very little chance that we're going to cause harm, and that's refreshing to me to be able to eliminate the dangers that can come sometimes with surgeries.
Book your free consultation today in Dublin or Gahanna. Call 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544. Or go to qckinetics.com/Columbus.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and, of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
Listen to Financially Fit Radio with Corey Sickles this Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on 1460 ESPN, covering topics like what you need to know about annuities and how to stay healthy and enjoy retirement. Financially Fit Radio this Saturday at 9 a.m. on 1460 ESPN.
Get your furnace fixed fast. Call Care Heating and Cooling, 1-800-COOLING.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting Oaks 5. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio.
Ride Rise and shine, jabronis.
What a show this morning.
There's only one place where Buckeye legends lay the smackdown. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekday mornings starting at 6.
Give me a juice box,
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Well, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
One night, one stage, Billy Joel and Rod Stewart. Saturday, September 20th, one special evening at Paycor Stadium. Together for the first time ever in Cincinnati. Free sale for City Card members now through Thursday at 10 p.m. Public on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster. Saturday, September 20th. Don't miss Billy Joel and Rod Stewart.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Weston Air Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Tell the truth with Rothman and Ice.
CB, I asked Cole the first truth question. Being a local boy done good. I asked him the truth. Did you notify your parents that you were hosting a sports talk radio show today?
Please.
Now, I will ask CB, what did he say? I'm asking you to guess the answer. When I said to him, don't wink or don't give him any body language over there.
There's really only two possible answers. He either treated like just any normal day and didn't say a word.
Well, that's disrespectful to us.
Well, I mean, I guess. Or
you can spin this negatively whichever way you want to.
The other option is they went over, above and beyond and are like holding a listen party or a watch party on YouTube.
Or just a listen party. They just huddled around the radio.
What kind of amateur do you think I am? Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad. I'm on the radio today.
Did you say it just like that?
No. I didn't say it, period.
So it was option one, obviously.
Yeah, I didn't say a word.
You got a problem with what I'm saying? Untie your tongue and you come out here and talk, huh?
Yeah, that's what I told you this morning. You got a problem with how I'm doing this show. You come out here, untie that tongue of yours.
My mom has many coworkers who listen to this station, so I'm sure she'll find out. Just from my updates, she gets updates about my updates. How about being on the air for 3 straight hours instead of 1 minute per hour? Oh my goodness! But no, I'm not. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be on the radio. Been there, done that. Come on, I'm trying to fit in here.
Trying to act. Yeah, right.
This
act
is an
like
amateur hour.
All right, CB, that was the first truth question, and he told the truth. He didn't say anything.
That's fair. Well, my second one, I have to welcome in someone that's doing this show for the first time with what we like to call a quiz kit. So real quick, I'll throw this at you. I looked at a list of the last time every single NFL team has selected a quarterback in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
I think you might get this, AR.
Okay.
But we'll see. The team in the longest drought, which means the most amount of time in between now and the last time they picked a quarterback in the first round, was this team. And a little nugget I'll add to this. You mentioned this person that was selected earlier in the show.
All right. Well, you gave it to him,
Boom.
I think.
I was actually thinking this team already, and then that just confirmed it. Go ahead.
Well, you're the guest. Here were my if I was giving people a multiple choice before you gave him that hint. Before you gave him that hint, this is what I would told. This is what I
mentioned a lot of quarterbacks on the show today.
I would have said. I would have gone. Who would I have said?
I'm serious. I would have said this team, even if you didn't say that. But now I know.
Dallas.
Number 2, 1989.
Aikman. Right?
I just have the years, so
okay.
I think you're right.
Had to have been him.
Probably.
And then the other one that you could have talked me into, I know the answer, but if I was giving him a multiple choice, I would have said Dallas, Seattle.
They are number 3, 1991.
And then they drafted Rick Meyer again in 93?
That I don't remember, but that sounds right. Bengals were until they took Burrow. And then I would have said to him, the New Orleans Saints.
Yep.
That is right. Archie Manning was the pick in 1971. They have not taken a quarterback in the first round since that year. So the question is this. The Saints, I forget which pick number they have.
By the way,
number 9.
Real quickly, I couldn't think of which Seahawk it would have been in 91. And I honestly don't really remember this guy because he probably didn't last. There was a guy that played at Iowa and then transferred to San Diego State. His name was Dan McGuire.
Oh, that's the brother. Wait. Didn't Mark McGuire's brother play in the NFL?
That's right.
So that would be his brother.
It was McGuire's older brother.
Is that your little brother?
That's right.
He's a good-looking kid.
So the younger brother was Mark McGuire. Dan McGuire was the one who got drafted in the first round by the Seattle Seahawks. And then
he wrote a book about how Mark and Canseco were doing steroids.
No, he didn't get paid that way. He went into insurance, Ned Ryerson, because you can always use a little more. Am I right or am I right? All right, go ahead.
All right, well, the question associated with it was, and thanks, Cole, for pointing out the pick number 9 in this year's draft. So kind of outside the range for probably the top 2 guys in the first round, but could reach on a different prospect in the quarterback group. But the question is, should the Saints take a quarterback and replace Derek Carr?
At 9?
We said the same thing about Denver, and then they took Bo Nix.
No, everybody we talked to, it's just not there. I mean, you can take a swing. He clearly loved Mccord, but I don't think you're taking him 9. I wouldn't. I wouldn't be. It's just too much risk.
Not this year. I don't think you can do it this year. I'm not a Milrow guy. I think he's incredibly athletic, and I don't think that simply being an athlete makes you a quarterback in the NFL. See Anthony Richardson. So,
how about trade up for one of the top 2?
Yeah. For Shedeur or Cam?
Yeah.
I'm all for if you can get up there. Yeah, and the Browns should listen. They probably should. But yeah, between Jalen Milrow and Quinn Ewers and Kyle McCord and Will Howard and Dylan Gabriel, well, Jackson Dart or Curtis Rourke, you're trying to find Riley Leonard, your guy.
Oh, God, no.
Come on.
No.
You're not. There's no depth. Now, could one of those guys hit? Of course. But hit and be franchise worthy? Now you're really expanding the odds.
Hot take. I don't want my team to do it. I wouldn't be mad if somebody else did. I wouldn't mind if Will Howard went first round. I really wouldn't. And I'm not Mr. Buckeye fan, so this is not just some biased homer take.
What do you mean you wouldn't mind if he went there?
Because he was spotting balls this year. He played big in big games, too.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant you wouldn't mind if he went to somebody else because that would take up a slot. Yeah. Okay.
Just remember, it's not a lie if you believe it.
All right, it sounds like Matthew Stafford is confirmed coming back for another season. And it sounds like he might want a new deal with all of that with the Rams. That could be interesting how that turns out. But the question is, tell the truth. How many good years of football do you believe Matthew Stafford has left?
3 to 4. I mean, it'd be amazing. I mean, you tell me. You watched him. He was sharp at the end. He was sharp against my Vikes. When he's got healthy guys to throw to, I mean, sidearm bullets, he's still a worthy quarterback. He's proven to me, because in Detroit, when he got the nickname Pad Stafford, he was the guy that was just rolling up numbers but not winning big games. Goes to the Rams, they win a Super Bowl. I don't think he wants to retire. I think that he wanted more money in guarantees in 25 and 26 from what we read when he was negotiating the new contract. I think he wants to play 3 to 4 more years. I think 3 is probably safe. Because he's probably gonna have to go elsewhere to get to 3 or 4. But I wouldn't be surprised if they strike a new deal again and they try to ride this thing out. He's trying to be top 10 all time in passing yards. I got to look and see where he is. He is signed for this year and next year. So I don't think there's any talk of him retiring. I'm going to go 3 to 4. 3 probably is right.
I'm going to piggyback off of that. I'm going to say he goes 2 because he turns 37 a week after tomorrow. When we start getting 39, 40, 41, I can't get down with that. No, you said good years. You didn't just say years. You said good years.
Right. You have to factor in he could have a couple of years where it's Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. He could run out there with an American flag and blow out his Achilles on the fourth play of the game. I say two. 2 more respectable years where he's not an abomination.
And it's good you put that out into the ether about the Achilles thing.
I don't believe in jinxes.
Nope.
And that, my boy, is the damn truth.
All right, let's finish off with another one of, and again, you're sitting in Matty Ice's chair, so you need to understand the idea of both.
Print the shirts.
B-O-F-F. Well, that too, but B-O-F-F, as in both. When I talk about this next question, it's the fan poll. It's asking you this between the Ohio State game tonight at Penn State and the Blue Jackets on the road at Vegas. What are the results of those 2 games? Is it Ohio State wins but Jackets lose? Jackets win but Ohio State loses? Both win or both lose?
Mm-hmm. I will tell you this. I think that if Samsonov is in for Vegas in the net, he hasn't been great. Their goaltending hasn't been great. I think that if I play the odds straight, it's Buckeyes win. Well, no, they both lose if you're playing the odds because they're both dogs.
You're not going to like my answer.
So I think it would be Buckeyes win, Jackets lose.
I have both losing because you're on the road in Vegas. Vegas is a really good team. And when it's college basketball, when in doubt, pick the home team. Simple as that.
To be fair, he did it. He did do the both.
Both. Yeah, he went both.
I did go both.
That's a Matty Ice.
Shall set you free.
Both.
To Cole Bartemus and his extended family, all of you that were notified that he was going to be hosting today, I think that you were the best so far in the hosts that we've had fill in today.
Really?
And so we'll call you.
I thought you were going to say this week. I'm like...
I had a lot of fun, Matt. I hope you did too.
Absolutely, and I look forward to doing it again.
Absolutely. All right, Common Man and T-Bone are up next. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
Here's a listener tweet. Are Men and Bone stupid in real life? Yes. Yes, they are. Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan. This is a Fan Action Update.
This Action Update is sponsored by Logan Services. Free furnace with the purchase of an AC. Buckeye Hoops on the road tonight in Happy Valley. Ohio State's a 2.5-point underdog and plus 125 on the money line. Michigan State is the current favorite to win the Big Ten at even money, with Purdue having the second best odds at plus 230. For your Logan Services Action Update, I'm Scotty Vegas.
Giant Eagle is making it easy to surround yourself with the sound of freshness, the sound of sizzle, the sound of savings. With new low prices on hundreds of your favorite produce items, deals for days on over 1,000 items throughout the store, plus weekly sales and My Perks for even more savings at the pump. Surround yourself with savings every time you shop. At your neighborhood Giant Eagle. Visit gianteagle.com for details.
The New Year's celebration is come and gone, but my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin are still offering those great deals. Rich is sticking with rates starting as low as 0% and leases starting from only $249 a month. Test drive the Prologue, the new all-electric SUV from Honda. And how about the very popular CR-V LX all-wheel drive? A 25 lease is only $349 a month for 36 months with $19.99 down. See the dealer for all these amazing details. Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Through the magic of modern technology, I'm coming to you from inside your garbage disposal.
Hey, what are you doing down here?
I was telling folks about
Who are you?
Garbage disposal monster. I eat the things people put in here. Nom 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 nom.
Oh?
Sometimes I get sick.
I was just about to say, the pros who knows from Apex are brilliant at fixing garbage disposals. You're really a monster?
Look here. These teeth, they're all busted.
Oh.
They're for food, not forks. You hear up there?
Gee, what else?
Crazy noises like clingety, 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 clingety. Call Apex Pros.
Sure.
Sometimes I smell funny.
I didn't want to draw attention to it.
Call Apex Pros.
And what's going on now there?
Smoking. It's a bad habit. We're not supposed to smoke.
Well, you heard it straight from the garbage disposal monster. Call the pros who knows. Apex Pros.
Hi, it's Alex, the Apex Bear. We are the pros who knows, the official plumber of the Columbus Blue Jackets. ApexPros.com.